but it should be a good football day, is what I'm trying to say. So whatever. I know it's college football. I know it's not your big forte, but I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna root like hell, even though I have to root for Clemson today, Mary, which sucks. But I gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Let's do some fun stuff for that.
Yeah, find something to do. But it's definitely gonna be fuck Notre Dame day today. And fuck Ohio. They could both lose today. Can you imagine this?
I hope they fucking do.
Could you imagine if they both did? How funny that would be?
You know what? Given it's 2020, I hope that happens.
Well, one of my friends, she's a Northwestern graduate, and and so she's she'll be all excited for that, I think. But that'd be great for her if they won. But I think over. Oh, okay. It'd be nice to pay attention to this damn thing. Why can't I go online? I can't go on this stupid thing. I've had problems with it. Oh, there it is. Okay, turn this stupid thing down. But if they both lose today, oh my God, you want to talk about a party in the USA? If Clemson, if Notre Dame loses and Ohio State loses, like, you know what?
I know.
Christmas is made for me if that happens, and that's how it's going to be.
This cider tastes like Christmas. If Christmas had a flavor, it would
be. Oh, drinking early, huh? What a surprise! I can't believe somebody would drink this early in the morning.
No, neither can I.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, Leonard. Hey, Evan. Hey, Barbara.
Yeah, Leonard. Hey, good morning, guys. I had to get a flag because somebody was shaming me on social media, Leonard. Can you believe that? I was being shamed on social media for not having a background. And so, yep, now I get a flag. So there we go.
Sips beer and fluent Prince shade.
What?
Have you not seen that gif of Prince where he's like sipping tea and he's like...
I've seen the Kermit one.
There's one of Prince, which is pretty amazing.
Prince the musician?
Yeah.
How the hell did he do that? He's been dead for years.
It was before he died.
Oh, see, there you go. It makes sense now. Well, good morning, everybody.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Lori.
Sorry about our idiot banter that goes on for minutes before this thing starts, but we talk about many exciting things so far today. College football and me being shamed to put a flag up. This is unbelievable.
You've been saying it for like a while, though. We'll finish these.
But you know what? Yes. Okay. I hear you. But what you did, though, is you questioned my legitimacy yesterday on internet, and the whole world, even the Martians and the Space Force can see it now. You challenged the fact that I even had a flag, if I remember correctly.
No, we didn't.
Weeks has been promising a flag. He says he has all these Civil War flags. See, I know where you're going with that.
You were doing your usual thing, which I do too, which is procrastinating and not doing it.
No. But anyway, so I had to decide what flag to put up. So I put up the 35 star flag. I had some choices. I was looking for a 16th Maine flag, and I don't have one, Mary. So I almost put a 20th Maine one up, but I didn't. I put that one up.
Well, I think that one's more appropriate. I think.
Yeah.
Hey, Barbara.
1863.
Hey,
everybody.
John. Ho, 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 Weeks from John.
Yeah, Weeks was shamed. Yes, Len, I was shamed. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Morning.
Hang on a sec. Jim says my sound is kind of weird.
That's just the way she talks, Jim.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, actually it is.
Okay, good.
Like, now you're loud though. That's okay.
What's new?
No, it was like your microphone was too far away. Good call on Jim. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Yeah, I tend to tune her out, so I really want to notice it. Hey, everybody. Hey, Raj. How's things over there in Ohio? Hopefully, I'm rooting for Northwestern today, obviously, right? Mary sounds like Chinese. No, that's right. Notre Dame today, Roger. So yeah, Notre Dame. We're big Clemson fans today. Got to go Clemson today. Unfortunately, got to go for the.
Mary sound is like Bragg's tactics. Yeah, my video is now all choppy, so I'm gonna stop my video for a second.
Oh, okay.
And
that's
start
good.
it. There.
The 60th, yes, Leonard. The 16th did destroy their own flag, but I don't have the original flag, Leonard. If I did, that'd be awesome. You know, I did post a picture of a portion of it though. On my Twitter last night after I was shamed for not putting my flag up.
Didn't
Mary.
fucking shame you.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah. So, but anyway, morning everybody. Thanks for everybody jumping on. Allie's are in the house.
Hey, Liza. Hey, Amelia. So, wow, lots of people jumping on. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's early. Everybody getting up early for Christmas week. Can you believe Christmas is next Friday?
That's crazy. Like,
I guess it's crazy. But anyway, good morning, Veronica. Good morning, everyone who's
Hey,
signing
Veronica.
on. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I guess we can kind of get started with the silly history thing we do, right? So we did our podcast on Christmas and the Civil War this week, and it was fun to do. And it was funny because I mean, Mary, we were doing this. It was like we started off. It was kind of a jovial type
Yeah.
of jolly episode,
Yeah.
and I think we both kind of got depressed as we got talking through
We
it.
were, because like
Right?
I think we were, we were looking to make it really jovial and festive, but then just some of the quotes we had found, and then your quote from Shaw, mine from Howard's, were just like, I think it was just something that we both related to, not being able to, like, the holidays aren't normal, not being able to see people and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those
There's
things
a lot of
where
parallels between
yeah.
what's going on now and the Civil War, I think.
And that was something we kind of stumbled upon. We were talking about, these guys writing home to their families and stuff about how they were separated and how it seemed like it was never going to end. And I think we both kind of let this whole pandemic seep into our heads a little bit, right? And so it's kind of like, oh, you know what? Things aren't exactly any friggin' better, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, I hope people can relate to it and see, like, okay, these guys were going through something. I mean, obviously the war is different, but something very similar where they can't be with their families. And you see that on all levels. You see it at the level of just the soldier, and you see it at the level of somebody like Shaw and like Howard, where Howard is going to Sherman being like, I just want 2 days to go see my family. And Sherman saying, I would give $1 million to see my children.
Well, if you had 6 minutes the first time Mary said Howard, you won. Congratulations. So a new record. If you have mentioning all the roads Howard this thing. But hey, Roll Tide. Yeah, Len, I'll go Roll Tide today. As long as they stay in the top four, as long as they end up as long as they keep Notre Dame out of that top four, I'll be happy. So,
Hey,
but
Scott,
speaking of football,
Renee.
real quick. So I don't have any Northwestern beer, Mary, but I do. What I did find was a purple can. So this is my homage to Northwestern Wildcats as they play and hopefully beat the wretched Ohio State University today.
I've got purple on my one beer.
Oh, I didn't bring a koozie today. Fuck. Actually, I have my coffee mug too on my Civil War.
I'm contemplating getting a little fridge for down here to keep my beer in.
That's when you reach quality level right there. So, but it's good to see everybody jumping on.
Hey, Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob. Hey, Renee. Thanks for jumping on.
Actually, she's
it's
from
Mark. I'm sorry.
Mark. Hey, Mark.
That's why I should read the comments, Mary. Mark in Pennsylvania. Oh, Mark. Hey, what's going on? I should have recognized the last name. But thanks for jumping on. We had an awesome time. Mark was one of our boys on the round table. We had fun with that, Mary. That was a good time.
That was a good one. Yeah, Allie B was there. Jim was there. Mark, John, Jacob. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them there. Allie B, the mini fridge is key. Yeah, no, I'm thinking about getting one because beer is starting.
Well, I have a mini fridge in my den, which is great. I got all kinds of stickers all over it. That's pretty sweet. But yeah, so before we get rolling, I guess here, which is I don't know what the hell it even means, but we did have a round table. We talked about books, and it was awesome, Mary. That was my favorite one we've done because that was
really good. It was really good to and I had a whole stack of books I wanted to talk. I was like, okay, if I get to them, great. But hearing what everybody else was reading, and so I was able to save, and I was so awesome that people were writing stuff down in the chat. But I wrote down some of the titles too. Hopefully, I didn't miss any. But from there, I think what I'm going to do, I was telling you yesterday, I'm going to make like a Google Doc, and then people can have a look at that to see what books are on there, and we can keep adding to it as well. So it's kind of going to be a growing list of Civil War books.
Yeah. Oh, and Mark, just so you know, I'm pretty sure on Wednesday night I dreamt of Willoughby Run. So thanks for that.
And thanks for those pictures you posted too, Mark.
Oh, those pictures. I love them.
It was awesome seeing that.
There's probably that whole battlefield is amazing. Do you see that Man vs. Food guy was there? He tweeted that. That was pretty cool. I don't think it was recently because there was no snow. It looked like it was a summer picture.
No, that was really cool.
But there is so many places in that battlefield. And what's great about Gettysburg, Mary, and I'm preaching to the converted, obviously.
Yeah.
Is it's the places you can kind of go to where no one goes. Like my favorite places is Willoughby Run, obviously. Behind the 20th Indiana Monument, behind Devil's Den and Rosewoods. Yeah. You gotta watch out for the clown, but it's worth going to.
I love going to Rosewoods with you that one time.
In places like that, parts of Culpsville, it's a place that no one goes, where there's no monuments, there's no markers, there's no trails, and it's just the way it was, and it's so cool. But Willoughby Run is, if you walk past the 26 North Carolina, down that hill, you don't break your neck, and you actually make it to the river, or the run. You can kind of cross it. You're seeing exactly what those North Carolina guys and those South Carolina guys would have saw coming up to face the 24th Michigan, the Iron Brigade. You can see exactly what they would have saw. I know the foliage is a little thicker now, but it's still, that's what's so cool about these places. Not that I'm glad a guy like that Richmond went, the Man vs. Food guy, so he can appreciate that, because that's the stuff that people don't always notice that, because I notice a lot of people don't get out of their cars. They listen to the radio, right?
Me too. Like, I noticed that so much, and it's the same at Chickamauga as well. Like, there were so many people just driving around, and meanwhile, I'm the type of person, I park my car somewhere and I walk for miles and miles and miles. You know, at Chickamauga, it's really easy to do that. But Chickamauga as well, I was telling you, there's a lot of places like that there too, where you can kind of go off the beaten path, especially in the area of Snodgrass Hill. Like, you can go right down into the woods. But there's little monuments back there that never get seen by people. But it gives you a really great perspective on seeing what Longstreet and Claiborne's men would have seen as they were going up that hill towards the Union.
Well, you know what I did, 2 summers ago, is you parked the car on Confederate Avenue, and you walked. What we did is we walked the path of the 1st Texas. So we went down the hill through the triangular field, up that valley. You got to watch out for the snakes and the friggin' alligators and everything else that's in there. But you walk through, you never know. But you walk up there, and it's in like John just says, it's get out and walk, and you got to walk it. But real quick. So what was I going to say? John, that diary that I mentioned is The Road to Richmond by Abner Small.
I want that one too.
Speaking of Mary, should we make our big announcement?
I think we should.
Well, all right, well, knock yourself out.
Okay, you want me to do it? Okay, so just kind of inspired by our roundtable the other night, and we've kind of been talking about this here and there, but we want to make this happen in 2021. So we are going to have a Civil War breakfast book club. And what we want to do is take like 4 months, read a book, and then after that, have like a Zoom meeting, much like our roundtable, and talk about the book, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and then maybe, just take it from there. So a very casual discussion, much like our roundtables are.
Yeah. So we'll do our monthly roundtable, and then we'll do like quarterly. And what we'll do is we'll pick a book, and hopefully people read it. Hopefully people can read Mary, but hopefully if they do, they can, and then what we'll do is, just like a book club, we'll talk about the book, and we'll take suggestions of what people want to read. We're not really going to jump in with Coddington or Fonz or any of these things that take 5 years to read. We're going to do an easy one. I'm going to make the first guess, Mary, the first pick, right? We talked about this. So the first book we are going to do, if you're interested, is this one right here, Black Iron Mercy. And Heckman, I know you have it because I mailed it to you. Okay. So if anyone has this book, it's cheap. You can buy it. It's a historical fiction about the Iron Brigade by a guy named Eric S. Okay. Check it out, and we will probably. What did we say? March 31st?
And end of March. Yeah, end of March. We'll talk about the book. And the other thing we want to do with this too is kind of feature books that maybe aren't as well known, or just kind of more like Darren said, not going to do like a Coddington or a Fonz, but there's a lot of historical fiction out there about the Civil War, which is very mainstream, like Jeff Shara, for instance. But this Black Iron Mercy is something that isn't mainstream. I'm reading it right now, and it's just as good as Jeff Shara. The characters are so well developed, and it's really, really awesome. So that will be our first book.
Yeah, so check it out. It's a historical fiction. If you like the Iron Brigade, it has some really good Antietam and Gettysburg content. It's very factual as far as historically accurate. Whoever wrote this is Eric Schleinlein. He knows his shit, so definitely get it. It's one of my favorite books to read. It's right up there with Killer Angels if you get a chance. Yeah. So if you're interested, email us at the Civil War Breakfast Club at
gmail.com. Yep.
Gmail.com. And then old Fincheroo here will get you the information.
Yep.
But definitely check it out if you're interested. Let us know, because we're going to do this every quarter. So, and if you have a book suggestion, I'm looking at you, Allie, both of you guys, and Jim for that matter.
Yeah, and lots of people here can make book
We'll pick a book. We'll try to keep it one that's readable. I know people are busy, but within the first, if you can read it in a month or two, this book is only. It's, what is it, 250 pages, so it's an easy
Yeah.
read. So we'll start with that. So hopefully people like it. It's a great book. I hope you like it. But if you're interested in joining this book club, then we're going to do this once a quarter. We'll get together and just talk specifically about that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. That's our big announcement. That's the next evolution in the Civil War Breakfast Club life, I guess.
Yeah,
So there we go.
exactly. And we got a lot of positive responses to it. Veronica says it's awesome. Lori, great idea. Allie B is on board. Allie K, Evan, and Mark said he just finished reading Those Damn Black Hats, a book about the Iron Brigade. Is
That's a good
great
book.
choice. Mark, I've had that book for a couple of years and I've kind of flipped through it, but I've been wanting to read that. John said that he has thought of writing historical fiction. Yeah, I have too, actually, and I've actually written little bits here and there, but never had anything published yet.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard
So
just
again,
purchased it.
yeah,
Jim has
good.
plenty of suggestions. Hey,
But
Gabe.
it's definitely, hey Gabe. Yeah, but seriously, any suggestions you have to do? I mean, we just want to try to keep it reasonable. We don't want to have everybody's eyes glaze over. Everyone's at a different level of this stuff. We don't want to bore anybody, or it also don't want to insult anybody's intelligence either. So we'll kind of pick a book. We'll do this first one, and then maybe people can make suggestions for the second one as we get into the 2021 year, and then we can just decide on it. Whatever, but
yeah, exactly.
But it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it because
Me
it's
too.
always. I think everybody who's on this reads like we all do. So, but Black Iron Mercy is the book. Definitely get it if you. I promise you're gonna like it.
It's so good.
We're all nerds of the same cloth, so we're all gonna enjoy it. Definitely do it. So that's what we're gonna do. So anyway, Mara, there's our big book announcement.
Yes, exactly.
And that's I'm looking. You know what? I'm looking forward to reading it again because I read this about a year or two ago, and it's a great beach read. Admittedly, but we'll be doing the beach anytime soon here. It's snowing out today, but I'll read this again. So it's nice to do this. So all right, well that's that. So
that's our announcement. Book club for 2021 for Civil War Breakfast Club. Hey Mike. Hey Joseph. Hey Thomas.
Hey Joe, where you been, man?
He said he had an early morning podcast recording. He's glad to be back to normal. Yeah. I gather he's been pretty busy lately.
No, it definitely has. So we got to talk about Christmas. We got to talk about the podcast.
Oh yeah, we can. We'll talk about whatever. Okay. I think it's been a pretty solid discussion so far.
No, it always is.
Yeah.
But for those who listened or didn't listen for that matter, but we talked about the importance of Christmas. How the Civil War really was impacted by impacted Christmas time. So it was a lot of fun doing it. We kind of hinted at this before we got started with this. This hat's getting hotter and hotter, Mary.
Then fucking take it
I
off.
don't know how the hell
if it's
Santa
not
Claus
you
does
drinking,
it.
if it's not you drinking shitty beer and making yourself into a martyr for that, it's you wearing a hat, which you're gonna get warm wearing it, and then you're gonna bitch about it, and then I'm gonna have to hear about it for the next few days.
And that's why you're getting cold. That's why, in case you're curious. Such a thing. But you know what? But
I do have a hat though.
Oh God, I gotta see this again. Anyway, but we talked a lot on the podcast about how Christmas was basically a secular holiday, right? And it was kind of like Thanksgiving, which is basically in the Civil War. That Christmas was what it was beer, wine, food, and football, right?
Yeah.
But no, it was just a secular holiday. It was really the Civil War that really brought it out. We talked about Thomas Nast, Mary the Bavarian, who helped develop the concept, the image of Santa Claus, and I just realized I kind of look like right now. Unintentional.
Looks fine to me.
Okay, well, but it was interesting though, and we read a lot of cool soldier quotes that we found describing it, and how much it really evolved. And we talked about before, by the time it got to 1864, you even had Sherman referencing Christmas.
Yeah,
captures
I beg to present you Christmas gift in the city of Savannah, which this is one of my favorite telegrams from the Civil War, is that because it's 100% who Uncle Billy was.
Absolutely.
Like he was so dramatic about stuff, and he had to make that into something, dramatic, obviously. So he's like, I beg to present you Christmas gift in the city of Savannah.
Yeah, but again, you know what though? If that had happened early in the war, he wouldn't have really referenced it because Christmas wasn't that big of a deal.
Exactly, right? But I think it got bigger and bigger as the war went on.
It did. And that was really the point of the podcast, right? I don't know if you heard the podcast, Mary, but no, the whole thing was we talked about how it progressed and how it was a fun study too, because it was a lot of the Southerners blaming the Yankees for not getting Christmas gifts.
Yeah,
There
telling the
was that.
kids that they can't have Legos because of the Union blockade.
Well, there was the Howell Cobb story, the gentleman
Yeah.
from Georgia, who told
Santa's got shot.
his slaves told his kids that they're not getting gifts that year because Santa was shot by the Yankees. Which sounds like a great thing to tell kids, by the way, But but they talked about how, and it was, I don't want to say a convenient excuse for the Southern people to say, but they were saying things like Santa Claus, or St. Nicholas, what they call it, was being held up by the pickets. And it was that fantastic story that you told about the whiskey, right?
Oh yeah, where the Union pickets had got hold of it was whiskey or brandy or something, and they drank it all, and then they put water in it. So this Confederate guy gets it, thinking his family sent him, brandy, whiskey, whatever, and he calls all his friends into his tent, and they're pouring it, and they take a shot. It's like it's fucking water.
Oh, like you didn't have a bottle of water in your house as a teenager, like every other teenage person. I know I did.
Oh, so did I.
Oh yeah, by the time you actually were turned 21, it was all water. And
Yep.
I mean, not that we condone such a thing, Mary, here in this family podcast, but that's
People are
that's
liking
the
the
reality.
hats. Allie B said Christmas hat brigade, and Leonard
Yeah.
said still better than Phil Sheridan's hat.
You know what? I go either way in a Phil Sheridan's hat. There are times I like it. There are times I don't. I'd wear it. I totally would wear it.
I would too.
I have no freaking shame what the hell I wear anyway. But I think, I think they're pretty good. Why would slaves cop an attitude? Probably because I imagine they were probably pissed off at life. I'd imagine. I mean, especially Cobb's. I mean, I don't think he treated them very, very well. He was one of the founders of the Confederacy. He was one.
Wasn't he was he the mayor of Atlanta?
He was the governor of Georgia.
Oh, that's right.
He was the governor of Georgia, but he was one of the original, the guys, right?
Yeah.
Go back with Davis and Benjamin, all these Stevens and all these fucking guys. But he somehow ended up commanding a volunteer brigade in Georgia. And he was the one, I know you know this, but he was the one who really bumped in Sherman at the beginning of the March to the Sea.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's funny how his name keeps coming up too. But but his slaves were,
that's amazing.
and you can almost picture the scene, him sitting there probably, the fire from the Bang Barn glowing in the distance, Mary,
Santa got shot.
Santa got shot. He was the Bang Barn.
Santa stopped at the Bang Barn and got gonorrhea and died.
It was a fire, different kind of burning sensation, but I guess it's all the same thing.
Santa went to the Bang Barn with AP Hill.
Oh my God, there's your Christmas card right there. It's probably what that Thomas Nast picture makes sense, actually.
How about your ho-ho house? Or whatever.
Oh, the stupid crap they come up with is so funny. But it's interesting. But then as you get into it more, you start to see about this, like the story that's that soldier who decorated a Christmas tree outside of the camp.
Yeah, with hardtack and whatever else he had on there instead of was it oranges or something?
Do you decorate your tree with oranges?
No.
That was funny. Instead he put instead of oranges and ham or something, he said.
He's got hardtack on there.
So that's where AP Hill got that ham bone.
Exactly.
From Christmas gift. Yeah,
well, his mom gave it to him. Jim said, when posting on Civil War Notebook, I always pay special attention to the posts about Christmas, New Year's Day, Independence Day, and Thanksgiving, and tag each post accordingly. Yeah, Jim actually has a blog. I think it is called Civil War Notebook. So
I've read his blog. He tweets all the time.
I know he does. Yeah, no, it's a great thing that he does with that. Leonard said, if Phil Sheridan's hat is the answer, it must be a damn peculiar question.
See, I like those. I mean, I have a Hardy hat I wear sometimes. I'll go to the battlefield, and every so often I'll go for a walk and throw on my Kepi hat, walk the neighborhood. I mean, people think I'm nuts anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But
I want to get a Kepi hat next time I'm in Gettysburg, and then I'm going to wear it to staff meetings.
Well, you should. My favorite Kepi hat story is when I went to see some concert. Right, I think I've told you this story before.
Yeah.
I went to see some concert. And we had this is the football stadium here in Foxborough, and I had a Kepi hat on because you know why? Because it was a country concert. I got dragged to a country concert with some friends, and so I just decided I'm going to a country. I have to wear something Civil War Union. Yeah. So even though I was in New England, so I wore a Union Kepi hat, and I'm stumbling around, right? And I get some drunk guy comes up to me and sees my hat.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh my God, thank you for your service. I want to buy you a beer." Right. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, where did you fight? He goes, were you in combat? And I go, yeah, I was at Antietam, but I don't like to talk about it. Oh, no. Here, let me buy you a beer. Thank you for your, I was like, it was like a big one of those big cups. I'm like, okay, fuck, I don't care. You know, but he thought I had the Kepi hat on. He thought it was active military for some, and I was fucking with the guy, and I realized I'm gonna get a free beer out of this. So fucking YOLO. And you know what? I still have the cup because that story was so funny. I kept the cup. It's one of those plastic cups. It was Kenny Chesney. That's who the concert was, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes. John says, so Heckman says, is Weeks doing the dual citizen thing today? A Canada hoodie and the federal colors. Absolutely, he is.
I am. I'm Edward Doherty today, Jim. John, sorry. That's
found himself a Canada hoodie.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, you know. But that's my Kepi story. So I love wearing that stuff, and it's fun going to the battlefield and throwing the jacket on or throwing the outfit on.
Yeah.
Because where else are you going to do it? But I do wear the Kepi hat here, just randomly. Just
I totally would wear. Like, I want to get one, and I would love one of the ones like the Iron Brigade wore too, which you just said the name, and for some reason it's escaping me. Hardy hat.
Oh, Hardy hat.
There we go. I knew it would come to me eventually. Yeah. Liza says Sherman visited a plantation, and when he found out it was Cobb's, well, yeah, it did not go well.
Yeah, okay. But it's pretty funny. It's people in this town know me as like the Civil War guy, so I'll go to some bar and someone, so which is kind of cool in a way. But so I'm not surprised when I wear that.
That's how people know me at work. They know I'm the.
What was cool was a couple of years ago was when the town of Sandwich here had that monument dedication for the Civil War, and they invited me to come to it.
That's awesome.
And I got interviewed. That was pretty cool. That was cool.
I had one of I've been helping because I work at a library, obviously. Helping there's someone that comes into the library and they're into the Civil War, so I've been suggesting some Civil War books for them too, as well.
Really, you suggesting books?
Yeah.
First time for everything. I suppose, right?
Imagine me enabling, right?
You know what though? We've said this before. With the book club that we mentioned earlier. You can never have enough books, and you know what's great about it?
No.
There is something that feels so good for the soul when you get a new book in the mail.
Oh,
and everybody here, I'm sure, knows that feeling. But you can sit there and say, you know, I'll probably read this in 2030 because I got 100 books to read.
Oh,
but
same here.
There's something you get that book like, oh, a new book. There's something amazing about that feeling when you get it. Or if you go to like there's a couple of antique book dealerships around here. I'll go there and find some old Civil War books, or I'll find one.
Well, I love used bookstores, and I mean, I love wandering around bookstores, and like so for 20 some years, I worked in a bookstore that my grandfather opened, and then now I'm in a library, so I'm literally surrounded by books, and I love it. I meant to tell you this, Darren, but my mom texted me last night and she asked me, she's like, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, Christmas is like a week away. And she's asking me. So I messaged her back. I'm like, I would like to worship the book gods at Amazon and make sacrifices to them.
Oh, definitely.
So you can imagine the response that she sent me.
Hey, Jen, thanks for jumping on. Good to see you.
Hey, Jen. Eliza said, I would wear a Hardy hat for any occasion. I mean, any. Yes.
Those Hardy hats are cool because they're supposed to wear. Like you wear a hat, it fits right, but those ones are supposed to wear small, so it kind of feels awkward. But I definitely enjoy it. But yeah, Al, you're right. That is the best feeling. I don't know what the deal is. There's something about that when you get a new book in the mail, you get that book smell.
Oh yeah,
it's just the whole deal. Yeah. And this is why I don't understand. I've never read an ebook or Kindle or anything because I just don't get that feeling. I
don't like it because I have a few ebooks and I just don't have the same experience reading them. That, and I also like to I graffiti the fuck out of my books. I put sticky notes in them, and I know Jim does that too. I know Jim does the sticky note thing too because he's posted pictures of it. But that's just I can't read it. Like ebooks are just not my thing. Audiobooks I listen to them, on road trips and stuff. But I still much prefer having a physical book in my hands and reading it that way.
Well, even the audiobooks, I don't listen to the audiobooks either. But there's something like what's great about we do our research for these silly podcast things we do. And it's great to read something and go, you know what? I have a book that talks about that from a different perspective. And you got to go find the book and you go back to the bookshelf. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
And you go look for there's something
Yeah.
cool about that, especially when you got some primary source stuff or you have some old stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, geez, if I probably got 1,000+ Civil War books. I
Oh
just,
God. When I've got
is-
to, like John just mentioned moving books, when I've got to move mine, it's going to be, I don't know how I'm going to do that. It's going to be fucking crazy because I keep buying more and I'm going to buy more after Christmas. It's crazy.
well, I can't get enough. I can't get enough books.
same
I'll
here.
go, and what I'll do is I'll sit there and I'll watch a lecture, or and someone will say, well, if I'll refer you to the so-and-so book,
Yeah.
and I'll write it down like, fuck, there's another one. And then you're the freaking worst, Mary. Jesus Christ. Have you read Fierce Patriot yet? No. Well, you should. Next thing you know, add to cart.
Yeah, and then you just got the Claiborne biography.
Yeah, I did. I got that. That came this
Southern
week too.
Storm.
But I love it though. But you know what though? There's something. I said before and I'll say it again. There's something awesome about getting a new book in the mail. I don't know, and
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It just is. It just.
No, I've always
That's-
felt that way too, ever since I was a kid. Like, just I would go into like a bookstore and then, wander off by myself and then like have like a stack of books like this.
Mhm.
And I mean, my parents like obviously indulged me and bought them for me because I was reading, which is obviously a good thing. But yeah, I would just, huge stack of books, and I still do that.
Oh God, I can't remember the last time I went a whole day without reading. It's just
Same here.
It's just one of
I
those
read every
things.
single day, and yeah, people here definitely they definitely are reading too. Jim says I stagger my Amazon purchase accordingly, so I never receive more than one book at a time. Hey Phil, and Paul said it has to be a real book, no Kindle for him.
Yeah.
And Jen said she's downsized her library and gone digital with the exception of art books and graphic novels. There's still no comparison to getting that physical copy in the mail. Speaking of graphic novels, it was actually John who brought up the Gettysburg graphic novel. And he was actually, he's like, on the round table. Do you remember that?
Graphic novel?
Yeah, a graphic novel of the Gettysburg Address. That's what John mentioned.
Okay. We talk about, I don't remember. We talk about so many. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, he meant, and I have a copy of it too. And he was like, I don't know if this is, he was kind of like, I think a little bit like, felt like, I shouldn't be bringing this here, but absolutely he should have, because it's very accessible history. And it's actually a very well written, it's a really cool graphic novel. So if that's another one I would recommend right there, is the graphic novel about the Gettysburg Address, because as John said on the roundtable the other night, it goes back to like the Constitution and all that and just tells the story of it. And it's really, really good. There's also a Patrick Claiborne graphic novel that I have been trying to get my hands on for a few years.
Okay. I mean, you know what? I wouldn't be completely adverse to reading any kind of Kindle-ish type thing if that was the only choice. I've just never done it. I just like the heart. I just like the smell of the books, to feel the books in my hands.
Too.
I just, and I have my bookmark, Mary, that I use. I've had for years, is a business card from the Cashtown Inn.
That's awesome.
It's all frayed and shit,
I have so many bookmarks. I collect bookmarks.
Do you see? That's I just have the same one. I just take it. I've probably had 10 years now, easy. I've had that.
I've had a few that I've had for a long time as well.
I mean, it's pretty.
Paul said, Mayor, I thought your mom was getting you and me new laptops for Christmas. That too. Because I really do need one.
I need an iPad. Tell old Mamu I need an iPad too.
Yeah. Roger said he picked up a few interesting Civil War books at work, including Texting a Pick of One.
Yeah, Roger. He sent me some pictures. I'm glad you're getting into the Civil War, Roger. Roger's a good dude. He's a big football guy, but he's a big history guy, and he's really getting into it. We took him to Gettysburg one week, and we got to do that again. But that was fun. That was a good time. There was some beers that weekend, I'll tell you.
Joe said on Twitter, I'll share some pictures of the book collection I inherited from an old colleague. He passed away and left me with 2,752 books, including ORs and NORs, and every copy of Civil War Times, or Civil War Illustrated, Times, Monitor, etc. Wow.
Now look, hey, what's up, Al? How are you, man? He brings up a good point. Is that Kindle are bad for maps? He's right about that. You can definitely do it. But hey, thanks for jumping on it. We had a great time on Lampoon yesterday. We had some good pictures yesterday. That was fun. Yeah. That was a good day yesterday.
Lampoon is awesome. If any of y'all aren't on Lampoon, you got to get on Lampoon. Civil War Lampoon.
It's funny because you're seeing a lot more people from here on there now, right? And so and people are contributing. It's good to see you contribute on there, Fincher, by the way. You were a lurker for the longest time.
I
Now you're-
know. Well, I was just,
You
I don't
know?
know what it was, but I've definitely come out of my shell regarding that anyway.
No, but that
I mean,
is
and I usually will make jokes about Howard. As much as I defend him, I'm willing to make jokes about him too.
no, but Civil War Lampoon is definitely the place for Facebook if you're interested in history and comedy. It's just a great place. Elle does a good job. What's up, Frail? The pride of
Hey, Ben.
Rhode Island.
Jen makes a good point here about digitized books, that she says they're not for everybody, but she prefers them because she can enlarge the font, read in the dark, highlight passages, and take legible notes. My handwriting is awful these days. It's also really easy to quote passages. Yeah, Jen, there's definitely upsides to them as well. And as you said, like everybody's different. And like, I know people that exclusively read digital. The library that I work at, we have there's a huge digital collection and catalog, and a lot of that's very, very popular with people as well, and was really good during the pandemic because we weren't open, but you could still get the digital copies. So that was one thing that that people could do with that. John doesn't care what format it is. John, and then John said, my wife has become a minimalist downsizer. It's a problem. I just have my books in one room, and two rooms. Like I have them down here, which is kind of like my other room in the house, and then I have like my room upstairs where I have a lot of my books too. Hey Ryan, sorry to keep you up so late the other night. Ryan's from England. We kept him up pretty late in the round.
So yeah, it cut his tea interval time, Mary. He was up late for that one.
Yeah.
You know.
Jim said he keeps a notebook handy when watching Civil War documentaries, writing down names, places, books, and research topics. I'm so glad there's somebody else that does that, because I've done that for years. I always have a notebook with me and a pen to write stuff down.
I don't really do that, but yeah, John, you're right about the 16th of May. We got to do that book. We really got to do that.
Oh, that's 16th May graphic novel, and you should get Jen Rowling to illustrate it.
No, we you know what? I'm not kidding about that. That I want to do that. I really do. Because
oh God, I should do a Howard graphic novel.
Oh God. The words Howard and graphic next with you is a whole different situation. I'd sell that one in a brown paper bag probably, but buy that one in the back with all the videotapes. Yeah, I said I did.
Fucker.
But seriously, I the 16th May. We talked about it in the podcast actually, as we segued back in the podcast. That's how you do it. Was talking about Charles Tilden and about everything he did in his career. And it's just a very untold story,
Mm-hmm. No, I really enjoyed hearing you talk about Tilden. And I am definitely, like I said last night, hashtag Team Tilden.
You get me going about Tilden.
Yeah, it's just like me and Howard, right? And too, like the other thing that I came away with, like I was saying to you this morning when we were listening to the podcast, is like Pettigrew versus Pickett. Pettigrew's far more interesting. He's far more talented. And I hate that the whole Pickett's charge thing really bothers me, that the other two don't get mentioned.
Well, that's what we were saying this morning. Whatever it was, it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock this morning, we were talking about this, was Pettigrew, he's a guy who had more brigades than Pickett did. Granted, his guys didn't get to the front as close. So they got close to the Bryant house, really. Mm-hmm. But Pickett's guys, it's the Virginians who told the story. And not to mention, Pettigrew gets killed.
Exactly.
Right?
Pettigrew gets killed. Trimble gets hauled off to prison.
And you need people to survive to write their history, right?
Exactly.
And Pickett obviously survived, and he lived the entire war. Mm-hmm. And he was from Virginia, and that's the end of the story.
For a while.
But if you, like everybody here, if you study this, you realize there are a lot more people. And the comparison, and it's difficult to talk about Tilden in the 16th without kind of taking a subliminal shot at 20th and Joshua Chamberlain. And I like him too, but they're not comparable, Mary.
They're not.
I mean, you want to talk about the fact that, okay, if anybody who's listened to the podcast, I'm going to repeat myself here. I'm not going to tell the whole fucking story, but this is a guy, okay, who was left basically to die on Oak Ridge to be the sacrificial lamb regiment. Mm-hmm. He had 275 guys on right there. They were fighting Junius Daniel and Stephen Ramser, Edward O'Neill, George Doles, the remaining of Iverson's brigade. They had basically all these guys coming from all these directions. 275 guys. They held their spot for 10 minutes, long enough for the rest of Robinson's division to get off and head back towards Cemetery Hill. Out of the 275, only 40 made it back to Cemetery Hill. Now, most of them got captured. Right where the Pizza Hut is actually where they got captured, including Tilden himself. They didn't want to give up their colors or flags. They tore up the flags. Tilden actually took a piece and stuck it in his mouth. And he kept it. He had the flag and he kept it all the way when he went to Libby prison. He still had it. That's the picture I tweeted last time. Was one that was in his mouth, right?
That's really cool.
So they asked him to hand over your sword. He pulls it out, sticks it in the ground, and snaps it off. It says, "Go fuck yourself." No way. That's literally what he said. Probably he's New Englander and all. But he escapes, gets captured at St. Petersburg, escapes again, and then kind of vanishes. But those 40 guys who survived and made it back to Cemetery Hill, what do they end up doing the next day? Going to Little Round Top to fight with Chamberlain.
And they don't get mentioned.
And they don't, and you never hear about that. They supplemented those soldiers of the 20th Maine. So these guys fought and were left to die on Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
Then the next day had to fight Oates on Little Round Top. And you don't hear anything about them.
No. And like I was saying to you in the podcast, for every Chamberlain, for every Hancock, like there is somebody that has done something equally good and maybe a little bit better that doesn't have that voice in history, and they deserve a voice. Like Tilden definitely needs a voice in history, and his story deserves to be told. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of, it's like it's sort of like the mainstream, but I find like what you and I do with some of these episodes where we don't talk about a battle, but we're talking about these guys that don't have the voice. I always try and find somebody that doesn't get talked about as much. And I talked about Trimble in the alcohol episode. So for this one, I obviously picked Pettigrew. And I find myself seeing him, like I said to you this morning, I find myself seeing Pettigrew as like the Claiborne of the East. He's this guy that kind of flies under the radar a little bit. I mean, he's known by Jeff Davis. Jeff Davis obviously offers him the brigadier general early in the war. And Pettigrew says, "No, I haven't fought with my men. I don't think I deserve it." But then eventually he accepts it by the Peninsula Campaign. And he just seems like he's a very intelligent, speaks 7 languages, but he gets overshadowed by Pickett, which seems almost unfair because I see Pettigrew as being somebody that, might have been like a Longstreet after the Civil War and a Mosby where it's like, okay, guys, shit's over. Let's be friends kind of thing.
The Tilden an inspirational speech in the Maxwell movie. No, because he was from Maine. You got to understand a word he friggin' said. But that's probably why. But you know what? You mentioned Pettigrew, right? They knew by Gettysburg that he was a rising star, but they didn't like his experience. That whole thing about the day one when he goes out to Hare's Ridge, and he sees that before Heth.
Oh, right.
This was before Heth, right? But he gets up there and he sees the dismounted cavalry and he sees them doing their drills and he knows they're military guys and he goes back and he tells Heath, "The fucking Union's here. This is a militia." And they go, "You're crazy. You're new. That's just militia with shotguns." But then you know what Heath does? He goes to his boss and says, "Hey, to A.P. Hill," he goes, "Can I bring some guys to go check out what he's talking about?" And A.P. Hill has a quote, "I have not a problem in the world." So you know what he does? He says, "This is just dismounted. This is just militia." He takes 8,000 guys with him.
You don't take 8,000 guys.
He takes 40 cannon, 8,000 fucking guys to deal with shotguns. So he knew there was something there.
Oh yeah, and he's not giving James credit for that,
So I wonder if what he was thinking, Harry Heath, was he's like, you know what? This Pettigrew guy is new, but he's probably right. So I'm going to go and be a hero. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go beat the Union, take the town, and sit there and look what I did.
Yeah.
Look what I did, A.P. right? I know you got the whole gonorrhea thing going, but I got this taken care of.
Meanwhile, Pettigrew's over. Like, you fucker. I called that.
I know you have the burning sensation of love lost, so you stay back, and I will deal with this. But I think that's probably what happened, though, Mary. I think but then he got there and he got himself into an issue. And that's where Buford's 2,000, 2,800 guys. Yeah. But that's where I think it comes from. But Pettigrew was a guy I think was very well thought of. And they thought his family thought he was dead.
I know. And that's why as I was researching him, I was like, oh, this guy has a lot of parallels with Claiborne. And then I started thinking like, oh, you could write like kind of an East-West hit, like, you know, biography of the two of them, because
Right.
they are very, like, I find them to be very, very similar in many ways. And I just like, you know, I think between the three of them that took part in the charge, he's definitely the one that I'm the most interested in, and then Trimble, and then I don't really care about Pickett. And
Well,
Allie
he
B,
had. Yeah.
oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh,
I was just
Allie,
he had the biggest, most more brigades. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. Oh, Allie B was just saying there's, she asked me if I'd read Pickett's Charge in History and Memory, and she said,
Oh, that's
really
Carol
enjoyed it.
Reardon's book.
Yeah,
My,
I
my
just
friend,
wrote it
my
down,
friend
Allie B,
Carol.
so
Yeah.
that's how I'm going to be worshiping the
If
Amazon gods
I'm
after Christmas.
I'm sure John Heckman, he's on here. I'm sure he's met Carol Reardon before. I've met Carol. She's awesome. You know, you want to talk to someone. She wrote that book, The Pickett's Charge and Men of Memory. You want to talk to someone who knows soldier stories, Mary? It's
Mhm.
Carol.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
you will talk with her for 10 minutes. You'll be like, I feel so fucking awful. She has these harvester of sorrow stories, you know, about
Mhm.
how this guy, his brother was killed in front of him, and you sit there and go, oh my God. But she's great. That Pickett's Charge book is the best on Pickett's Charge because it talks about the experiences. But she's
Mhm.
awesome. Have you even met her before? I don't know if you met her
No, I
before.
haven't. I would love to, though. Like, she's,
You might actually even be taller than her, and that's saying something.
wow, geez, and
Yeah,
I'm Phil
she's one.
Sheridan's height.
You
That's what
certainly are.
well, sometimes like people will ask me what my height is, and I'll say Phil Sheridan, and they're like, who? And I'm like, Phil Sheridan, 5'4".
You know, it's okay, man. Like I said before, you're not short. You're fun size.
Yeah, thank you. So funny story about Pettigrew. Last night when I was editing the podcast, I texted a picture of him from the Gettysburg movie to my mother and said, "Do you recognize this guy? It's James Bond." And she's like, "Who? Which James Bond is this? It's not Connery and it's not Roger Moore." And I'm like, "It's Lazenby." And she's like,
Oh
"He
God,
was only
Lazenby
in
again.
one." And then I said, "I'm like, but it's a good one."
Yeah, John, I knew you met Carol before. I met her somewhere at Gettysburg, one of these things, and but she's great though. It's cool that she knows you. That's all. Everybody knows you though. But that was but she's just great. She's one
Mhm.
of those people you talk to. She's brilliant, very down
Mhm.
to earth. She's just very
Yep.
friendly, not a mean bone in her body, but she's so smart. And she has so many stories.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, you just said, John just said that he did meet her. Jen says, I must meet this woman, the harvester of sorrows. Sounds like my kind of people. Same for us,
Well,
Jen.
she's almost like I don't look. I don't want to. I'm not talking bad about her because it's great, but she's almost like a Civil War Debbie Downer a little bit, right?
Hmm.
Because
But
she'll
those are the
tell you
stories
these,
that need to be
right?
told.
But she'll tell you these stories, but she has the best stories. But I mean, she just does what we do. She reads a lot of these diaries and she knows
Yeah.
these stories. But her book, speaking of enabling, that'd be a good one for the book club, Mary. That's a good one actually.
Yeah, I think we
Pick.
should. Yep.
Well, we'll talk about that Pickett's Charge. I think it's called Men of Memory. I think it's called. But that's a good one.
We should
But
definitely, well, we should do that as our second one then.
yeah. But for those who are just jumping on, you missed our big announcement. We are going to be doing a Civil War breakfast called Book Club, starting with we're going to do once a quarter. We're going to do a Zoom meeting. We're going to read Black Iron Mercy from
Why don't you
Eric.
tell these fine people what you called it yesterday when we were talking?
Oh, I call it Black fucking Mercy.
You called it Black fucking Mercy.
because it's kind of like Tom fucking Brady because it's just so good. But we are going to do a quarterly book club. Everyone's gonna read this book and then we're gonna get together on a Zoom meeting and talk about it. So
Yep.
sometime end of March. So we're reading this book. So that's your homework assignment. So and most people are still on, but there's some new people who jumped on.
Scott says 5'4" will do in a pinch, which is what I think Lincoln said about Phil Sheridan. And then Mark said that Field Guide for Gettysburg is the best. And Jim said, I'm taller than Jim. He's 5'2".
Nothing wrong with that, Jim.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Well, that's funny.
But even your size 5'4" is not that short though.
Well, no,
No, it's not. I mean,
it's average.
your head's kind of big, so it makes you look shorter. But
Fucker.
but no, but seriously, it's not that bad.
Jen said war is hell. It can be absolutely tragic in the scale of human suffering, but there's still a lot of levity and downright hysterical moments. As Yvette told me, war is essentially waiting in line and dick jokes. Yeah, there is a lot of, as tragic as it is, these guys were still out there making jokes and having fun. And I think I talked a few weeks ago.
They were young guys.
I talked a few weeks ago on this live where like Joseph E. Johnston and Patrick Claiborne was involved in this too. They had a late snowfall in March in Tennessee in winter 1864, and they had a snowball fight
Mm-hmm.
with it. Like, and Johnston organized it. They had it lasted for 2 days, and Claiborne ended up getting taken, quote unquote, prisoner, and then they had to parole him. But just the fact that these guys, including the generals, are out there and having fun and all that. And the other thing that we talked about in the Christmas episode was that, Christmas Day, there was like the Confederates and the Union got together and they exchanged things like coffee and different things and all that, so there was kind of the truce, like what you see in World War I, where the Germans and the British play soccer. So there was stuff like that going on too. But yeah,
It totally was. It totally was.
I love finding those stories where they're like, you find out Claiborne's got a pet raccoon, like something like that just makes them that much more human.
Well, you talk about like the Battle of Cheatham Hill at Kennesaw. They stopped to take a break, and they were all playing cards, Union and Confederate, and so it is. But hey, Caroline, thanks for checking in from Columbus, Ohio. Okay, well, I'm not
Jen,
going to say
War and Dick jokes.
Hashtag War and Dick jokes is going to be make that go viral. That's a good one, Jen. We're gonna
that's going to be the new Civil War Breakfast Club hashtag Civil War and
forget
Dick jokes.
Yeah, forget War and Peace. It's going to be War and
War
Dick
and
jokes
Dick
from now on. Yeah.
Hey, Caroline. Just checking in from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, well, they're going to lose to Northwestern today, Caroline. Just so you know.
Cool.
Just so you know.
That's why being thrown at Ohio
purple
today.
Can. That's okay. That's fine. So you heard about that story, Mary, about that dude who was roller skating naked with a panda hat in Ohio, right?
Yeah, that's almost like something that would happen in Canada.
Happened in Florida. You kidding me? I could not believe that was not a Florida story. It was, but it was pretty funny.
Jen, oh no, what have I done? No,
that's
we
right.
appreciate it. You're with the right people for that.
Hey, Carolyn, you know what? It's okay with Ohio State as long as we can all agree that Notre Dame loses today against Clemson. Yep. We'll all be cool. Okay,
yep.
We'll be cool.
We're all good. We're all good.
You're cool with Ohio. We'll be cool as long as that. And I know Roger's not going to be like that too much, but yeah, Warren Dick jokes is going to. That's gonna be my Facebook profile name for a while. They might change that. Warren Dick jokes. That's very funny though.
I was actually thinking of changing mine from Civil War Fangirl to Ho Ho Howard for the holidays.
I like the Ho Ho Howard. That was fun. One of the, it's so funny. Give me a look behind the curtain at the Civil War Breakfast Club World Headquarters, is coming up with these names, which we just started.
Oh yeah,
doing.
I came up with one today for Beauregard for myself for the next episode.
You mean Beauregard?
Yeah, Beauregard. Beauregard. Allie said, I love these guys and their random pets. I just finished up the book about Lee, and apparently as a kid he had a lobster and a hummingbird. That is an odd combo. What the fuck?
Yeah, Warren Dick jokes. That was Tolstoy's second book. Oh, you're right. That was the one he originally submitted to Simon and Schuster, and they said, we don't like the illustrations on this one.
Halleck would not have told Dick jokes. That guy didn't have a sense of humor.
I don't know. Maybe. So speaking of dicks, you know whose birthday it is today? Edwin Stanton.
Oh, God. I don't know why I thought of him this morning. And I was like, because I was thinking of episodes to do for my other podcast in the new year. And
I'm not going to lie. I never thought I'd say a phrase. Hey, speaking of dicks, I don't think I'd say that today. But
I was thinking for my other podcast, The Real Splitter, which is an Abraham Lincoln podcast, of doing like episodes about the cabinet members. And I'm like, oh, I guess that means I have to talk about Stanton. I do not like that man at all.
No.
He is a dick.
No, it's Halleck was all butthurt because he got sent. He was out west. He got sent east, and he wanted to be a commander.
And he made it personal.
Well, they all did, Mary. They all did. I mean, every one of these guys, Rosecrans, you pick one. They all did.
McClernand.
McClernand.
That was the one where I said his name one time and someone was like, are you talking about McClellan but doing that Irma Gerd thing and calling it McClernand?
McClernand. He's one of those. He's like, yeah, he was the one who was a Swedish chef in the Muppets. That was McClernand. McClernand. But that's what he was.
I can't imagine being Sherman and showing up on that boat and McClernand is fucking partying like he's won, like he's had a victory. Sherman's like, dude, you didn't have a victory. And then after that, he's gone. And then McClernand is writing to Lincoln saying, can you please help me? Because they were friends, and Lincoln writes him back. He's like, I've got enough fucking issues going on. I don't need yours too.
I can only imagine the messages that Lincoln used to get. I mean, we talked about how, going back to the 16th Maine again, Gabriel Paul,
Yeah.
which was the brigade commander for the 16th. The story is he only got his star because his wife kept bothering Lincoln.
Oh yeah, he was petitioned all the time by people, and finally he was just like, "Fuck."
Well, he got that note. Lincoln has the note. He goes, I met today with a Mrs. Paul who wants me to make her husband a general. She's a very saucy woman. I feel that I need to do this, and she won't leave me alone. That's literally what he pretty much wrote, almost word for word. So he gets a star. Didn't work out too well for him. He got shot in the head at Oak Ridge. Only lived for 8,300 days before he died. But but that's how it was. When you think of Gabriel Paul, think of his wife as the one who. I mean, who knows if that's it's a true story though, but whether or not that's why he got it. But I could see Lincoln going, Jesus, this fucking lady again. You know what?
Yeah,
Whatever, just get her away.
And then he's getting letters from McClernand saying, "Can you help me out? Like, people are being dicks to me out here, including Grant." And Lincoln's like, "Fuck." Speaking of the word saucy, that's a word that needs to be brought back. Sherman said that in a letter, or no.
Warren Saucy Dick, Mary?
Warren Saucy Dick, yeah. But
wait, hold on. But enough about AP Hill.
But Sherman writes in his, I think it's in his memoirs or a letter to somebody, he's like, "The enemy is saucy today." Ryan, does saucy mean the same thing in American as it does in English? What does it mean in English, Ryan?
I was going to say, there's a question I was almost afraid to ask, but this is going to come back.
We're just going to visit that one.
This is something scarbutic coming out here, I think. I think we'll find out about that. But saucy, I believe, just means feisty in the Civil War era. I think that's what that really meant.
Allie B laughs out loud when ever she reads in the book, and Jen likes, "I am also fond of rakish." Or rakish.
Rakish, I think it is.
Rakish.
Jen's bringing the heat today. She developed a nice solid hashtag for us, Mary.
Yep.
Saucy is funny though, because that's one of those words that comes out that you read a lot, and especially the old books.
Oh, Ryan says it's flirty.
So
no, it's not the same thing. It means like. God, it's not flirty. I don't think Sherman.
No, saucy means like
the enemy is flirty today.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, maybe they were.
No, it's saucy back then mean just feisty, and one of those saucy meaning, Hey, you know what? I know. So he's right. You know why I know saucy is from those movies with Mike Myers. What the hell is
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers. He says saucy, right?
Yeah,
that's right. That's okay.
My mom used to say it to me all the time, though. She's like, "Stop being saucy," and she meant it as being feisty, though. She was not saying I was being flirty with her.
Oh God, can you imagine that?
I grew up in a family where a lot of Civil War terms were used. Like, my grandma used to say to me all the time, "We got to skedaddle."
Yeah, that's still a common word nowadays.
Oh yeah, it is. The other one was your name will be Mud. Which is, I know, not connected with Dr. Mudd. My grandmother told me it was.
Well, no, but it's like the hooker thing with a hooker. They didn't create the names, but their existence for both popularized them going forward. So they kind of sort of did. That wasn't the genesis. Like, my name is Mudd, didn't come from Sam Mudd, but it was popularized just like the hooker thing. But maybe, you know what, though? Maybe saucy did mean flirty. Maybe Gabriel Paul's wife was hitting on Lincoln. And he goes, she's a very saucy woman. He got his rail splitter going, man. And then he had to make her a general, right?
John Heckman said Howard loves saucy ladies if we're going with flirty.
Yeah.
So did Hooker. The Bang Barn.
The Bang Barn, yeah. Oh, Howard. Poor
Allie B said,
Howard.
ho ho. Allie B said, "Oh, but that would be funny. The enemy is feisty and flirty."
I made that picture yesterday with Howard.
I love that
thing, and I sent that, and I'm like, just wait for it. I'm like, I'm gonna get it. You fucker.
Yeah.
But you know what? But you actually liked it. I
loved it. Well, just like the run, like what fun it is to run.
Yeah, that's.
Well, then I started making Von Gilsa jokes, saying he's not.
No, that was
he's the
Grinch.
fun.
Oh, that's fun doing those pictures. I definitely enjoyed doing that.
No, I love that. Yeah, and I was like, I was like, oh, Von Gilson would be the Grinch peering out from behind that. There was a building in the picture, and I just pictured Von Gilson peering out from behind with like a Grinch costume on.
You know, Jim brings up a good point about civil vocabulary. That'd be a fun book, Mary, to talk about words back then.
Well, Edelman is doing that. Edelman had a post about that.
Yes, I
Yeah,
mentioned that.
you said undulations.
I said undulations.
I said rolling hills.
He loves it. Gary is definitely a team undulations guy, Mary. He definitely is.
Well, I'm team rolling hills.
It doesn't matter what the hell you. Even if you know, it's fine. But we all know it's. I'm right with this one.
Allie K said, someone in England once asked if my friends and I want to get knocked up that night. I think that means to get drunk. Ryan will be able to answer that for you, but I think it means to
Well, we were on that pub crawl that night.
Yeah.
They talked about that. He mentioned knocked up. That guy.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but Alan, maybe he was talking about something else. I don't know.
British slang versus American slang are two totally different things. And I mean, I know both because my dad's British. But then again, I heard a lot of Civil War terms when I was growing up as well.
I didn't hear too many around my house.
No?
Usually was shut up and go to bed. Is that a Civil War term? I heard that a lot. Is that an old Sherman quote?
And the other thing too is my grandma, she used to call me a scallywag.
Well, your grandma was right about that. Knocked up, I'm afraid is pregnant. So yeah, I guess it is the same thing. So Allie, there you go. So there's your answer for you. Well,
Of course, Heckman is team undulations.
Because he's smart. Because he's a smart guy, Mary. He is. He knows.
Fucker. Both of you.
Anybody who knows, it's look.
Jim, hashtag team rolling hills. Yes.
You know what? Us Twitter storians, quote fingers, know what's going on, Mary. You can play with the little rolling hills. Okay, well, the real people do the undulations over here. Okay,
karma.
Whatever. Hashtag Warren Dick.
Warren Saucy Dick.
Ooh, that's nightmare fuel right there.
Leonard, undulations at Vicksburg is still my favorite strip club. We are going to make that a franchise.
Honest to God, a strip club on a battlefield called Undulations would be so funny, Mary. Oh, somebody smarter than us needs to come up with that. As far as that, because that would be so. Because you know what though, most people wouldn't know what the hell it means, but the real nerds would see that and laugh. Oh my God, can you imagine?
They would. And Heckman just said, "Throw off the ladies' weeks. I admire your undulations." Please don't.
Ooh, hey. Look, we're just a couple of people talking about undulations here, Mary. Wouldn't mind let me put a bow on that.
Scott said, "I'd have to see the give and change of terrain. Sometimes they're rolling hills, sometimes they're undulations."
That's true. Oh, hey, Scott, what's going on, man? Good to see you jump on. I can't believe we're still talking about undulations and rolling hills. I mean, this is what, months now? This is still going on?
Well, it's like the Lego Mago thing, the Bang Barn. You
need to be like that Frozen movie and let it go, okay? Because I'm right about this one. It's undulations. I'm just telling you.
Till like 20 years from now, I'm still going to be giving you shit for that.
Oh, good. That's fine.
We'll be on a battlefield somewhere or drinking beer, and I'm just going to randomly say, "Darren, they're fucking rolling hills."
You'll be like, "I'm gonna push you in your wheelchair on this fucking undulation,
fucker." You tell me if it's undulation or rolling hill.
Undulations and breastworks would be a good name of a strip club too, actually.
The hills will never die. That's true, Allie B.
Right. Hey, so Biddles, what do you think it is? Stake your case. Is it undulations or rolling hills?
I know Allie K thinks it's rolling hill.
I know what Allie's been mad at me because I told her I was running over bikers that day. So, but Allie B, what do you think? You're a red woman. What do you think it is? I think it's totally undulations. She's gonna pick hills because I know, but whatever. But in any case, but it is funny how we still talk about it though. It's just one of the
Jen said, "I just want everyone to know you are giving me quality material to troll the living hell out of my friends and future lovers." That's awesome.
Whoa.
Scott, just like there are many words for breastworks, LOL, yeah, you just gotta see them.
Let's see. Where you are to troll the living hell out of my friends and future lovers. Holy God, I didn't think I'd read that today. Wow, there's a Christmas miracle right there, Mary.
So you and I troll each other with this shit. So.
See, I knew Allie was going to run and hide. You know what? Whatever. It's fine. Hey, that's okay. Allie. The fact
So
of the
hide behind
matter-
the hills.
you know, the fact of the matter is there is no wrong answer.
No,
Okay.
we just
But-
like to give each other shit for stuff like this.
You know. Yeah, and it's okay to
That's
say
like-
I'm
that's
right,
what's
Mary,
fun.
once in a while. It's okay to agree I'm right.
I have
It's
said
true.
you're right, and
I
I've
know.
written you notes about it.
Do you remember you shamed me for not putting a flag? Remember that? Yesterday on Facebook, by the way?
What are you drinking
Yeah.
beer in shade now?
My what?
Drinking beer in shade. You're throwing shade at me.
Oh, okay. What the hell does that mean? Anyways, so you want to talk about Christmas in the Civil War again?
Allie B does like saying undulations, though.
It's so, you know what? It rolls. See what I did there? Rolls off the tongue.
It does.
It does. It does. And when you sit there and say to a battlefield guide someday or a ranger, can you talk to me about the undulations? It makes you sound smarter than saying, look at them hills. Them hills be rolling. Right?
Did Howard say undulations or rolling hills?
He said undulations. You know why? Because he was a smart New Englander, much like me.
Fucker. Paul said, this conversation is why everyone likes to keep abreast of what happens on the Civil War Breakfast Club.
Goodbye. She's just
Leonard's Grant at,
set off these offline. Oh my God.
Grant at Vicksburg Dam, that's a huge set of breastworks. That's like when I think of Howard, you know, when he's looking and realizing that they're on a fine piece of ground, and he's like, that's a fine piece of ass.
You said that a lot, actually.
I do. Well, it's like, it's Howard, the Christian general, right? That's the last thing you would expect him to say, but he turns to his guy and he's like, it's a fine piece of ass we're on right now.
I think Howard might have had a dark side to him.
He had a sense of humor. Like like I said last week on the live, like I think he was the guy that would sit really, really quietly, but then all of a sudden come out with this great one-liner. And like he's like in his memoirs, he's really sarcastic at times. You know, like that whole thing at Fredericksburg where he's like, this could have taken 3 days, but it took 13. And it's stretching it a little bit to say that this wasn't meddling.
Yeah. Well, we going back to Fredericksburg again. I mean, he was up in that tower, that court building, on the roof with those guys looking at the battle, going, "This is screwed." All I can think of is that David Rose meme. This is fucked. You know, that was Howard at Fredericksburg. But you know what? They had to go in.
Yeah, he's like, "This is fucked."
Yeah. Said that anyway.
No, but I was doing it like David when David was he's like, "This is fucked."
Did you notice I got a flag, by the way?
Yeah, I did. I'm going to be hearing that for the next.
It's a 35-star flag, 1863, Mary, because someone guilted me on Facebook yesterday, accusing me of not having Civil War flags. Allegedly, and I quote, allegedly he has Civil War flags, but I've yet to see them. So, okay. No, there you go.
That is not what I said. So now I'm going to be hearing about how warm you were when you were in Santa hat, and about how like I put a flag for you, Mayor.
Oh yeah, well that's
next fucking week.
obviously you're in the fucking Christmas spirit, but it's okay. But
Allie K said, "I like the verb undulating better." And she also said, no one around you will know what an undulation is, though. That's true. I should start dropping that instead of saying rolling hills. Say those are some.
I say it all the time. I picked it up in some book probably 100 years ago, and I'll sit there and just say, you can see the undulations, and people probably go, what the fuck is he talking about? You know, if I look up at the sky and shit, like birds or something. But it's fun to do. It's just, and I'm not trying to be a dick to people. I just.
Well, I know it's just something we joke around about. It's an inside joke, right? You know, and the whole undulation strip club.
Oh, that, you know what though? That's someone's. You know, I don't really exactly know anybody in the industry, as they say, but somebody, I'll put a bug in someone's ear. We'll talk to our friend.
Yeah, but we could be all
Ginsburg
Sopranos, though, right?
I don't think we're a strip club owning people, Mary. I don't think we
we're
can do that.
either. No.
That's like Ozark shit. I don't think we can do that. I don't know if we're capable of that. But just so you know, Mary, in case you're curious, I do get a flag though. I'm just gonna give you shit about that just because.
I need to find a flag because I've got fucking what's his face, Munich sitting behind me here.
You know what? Speaking of friggin' Pike, by the way.
Oh, she thought it was a Lincoln poster.
So it was a Lincoln poster.
I read that and I looked behind me. I'm like, I sort of see it. But it's
She's
Eric
like-
Bana about to go assassinate somebody.
She's like, Mary has a Lincoln poster on hers. You got a green screen that does nothing. Like,
Allie B,
That's
I've been
pretty
dropping
funny.
some random words I picked up from books and I get some odd looks, but I love it.
no, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Hey, so Ben, yeah, speak for yourself. Which, yeah, I guess so. Did you see Ben's T-shirt, by the way, in the round table, Mary?
Yes, I did.
That was pretty cool. It's a solid
was.
Die Hard shirt right there.
It was awesome. Scott,
It was
is
pretty funny.
swale a part of undulation?
A swale is the lower half of an undulation. It's
So the
like
lower half
val-
of the valley
a
of the
s-
rolling hill. Okay.
a swale is a valley between
valley.
undulations.
Okay, so it's a valley.
No, it's a swale.
It's a
See, here we
valley.
go. There we go again. Okay. That's fine.
Jim just said Missouri is the show me state.
Missouri's funny. I was in Missouri. I've been a handful of times. If you're driving from St. Louis to Kansas City, Mary, there's one highway that's straight across. All you see, okay, the highway signs, is you see, I'm going totally off topic now, but all you see is signs for Steak and Shake, sex shops, and God stuff.
Oh,
In
so it's
that
like
order.
driving through Ohio.
Oh, God. Except the panda wearing naked roller skater. That's the only difference. But you'll see Steak and Shake next exit. Then the following one is so and so sex shop. Then it's have you found Jesus? It's always in that order the entire way. And we noticed that it was so funny. So Missouri's a weird little state though. But
That's like driving. When I drive down to Tennessee, though, it's like Steak and Shake, God,
mm,
sex store.
yeah, well, I think it's Highway 75. It's something like that. It's in the 70s somewhere. But it's but it's
Scott said Highway 70. Yeah, I-70.
Oh, okay, not bad. Yeah, but that highway though, it's comical after a while. It's like, okay, we just saw the sex one. There's gonna be the Jesus one any minute now. And there it is. And nothing against that, but it's just funny how it's always Steak and Shake. It's
Yeah.
always porn, and then it's always religion.
Well,
And it's
that's what it's like
1, 2,
driving down to
3,
Tennessee.
1, 2. Oh my God! And it makes you wonder. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go get myself a nice solid hamburger. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy some porn. I'm gonna feel bad about it. I'm gonna go to church.
You're going to God.
Right? That's a message they're sending you, right? So, oh God, yeah.
Ryan just said my word of the day is rodomontade. Weeks engages in football-related rodomontade daily. That's from a Falklands book I read this morning. I love it. Oh, Lord.
Now, do you mean American
75
football?
here in
Ryan?
Tennessee? Yep, that's I-75 in Tennessee.
I
Steak
assume
and
he means
Shake, porn, God.
American football, Ryan. Right? It's not your what you call over there football. And
now when you and I go on a road trip, we're going to be giggling about Steak and Shake, porn, God.
right, that's up there with War and Dick hashtag, right? War and Dick jokes.
War and
But
Dick.
hey, so Ryan, you got a soccer team over there you like? I like Manchester City. You got one over there?
Are you serious? You like Manchester City too?
Yeah. I like them in Liverpool. Man City.
Same.
Liverpool, you'll never walk alone.
I got it.
those
I actually, side note, I got accepted at Liverpool University like 10 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know they had an admissions department. Oh, cool. It's so easy to fuck with you. It's
I love it. Scott said, you're really just describing any rural highway here in the Midwest.
I
Yeah.
know. I don't spend a lot
Allie
of time.
K's Liverpool. Yes, I'm Liverpool.
See, Liverpool, you know who owns Liverpool, Mary?
The Beatles?
The guy. No. Well, that's true. The guy who owns Liverpool is the same guy who owns the Boston Red Sox.
Interesting. I did not know that.
And I think LeBron James is with them too on that. I could be wrong, but I know John Henry of the Red Sox, not to be confused with John Henry Hobart Ward from the Civil War, Mary, but John Henry, who owns the Sox, owns Liverpool. They're like the Red Sox team. All the Liverpool games are shown on the Red Sox cable station here.
Oh, nice.
I'm pointing at. I guess that's what my TV is up there, but that's what I'm pointing.
You always point at something.
Let's see the flag though. But
Next week, guys, the next week is going to be hearing about this fucking flag.
The flag. I'm gonna change. I'm
I'm gonna wake up and have like coffee, and your first message is gonna be, "I have a flag," and I'm gonna get a picture of the fucking
I'm
flag.
gonna change the flag every single week.
Good.
Change the flag every
I'm
single
glad.
week. Just
I'm glad.
a
Fucker.
But no, but Nessa, New England Sports Network. But yeah, you're right. They own a racing team too.
And Ryan was referring to American football or rugby with excessive safety equipment.
It kills me not going to the fucking Patriot games this year, man. But let me
ask Scott's got to find headphones because his kids are home.
This is the problem. I don't even mean it to go this way. Every one of our podcasts has an E next to it now on the iTunes.
It does.
Because of you.
I'm sorry that General Warren is my spirit animal, and Humphreys apparently. Gibbon, Hancock.
Yeah, get the headphones. Get the headphones. Get the good one. Get the noise canceling. Sorry about that, kids. God.
Ryan said Liverpool also has several Civil War plaques related to the building of the Commerce Raiders at the risk of getting back on topic. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Ryan. It's amazing how,
Leonard, Weeks is going to turn into the opening credits of Gods and Journals with all the flags. Yeah, and it's like, pack your bags, Mayor, we're going on a guilt trip.
Well, you're gonna wear that one for a while because what you said yesterday was very, very mean.
I wear so much with you, trust me. It's a cross to bear.
But I'm gonna rotate flags. I'm gonna rotate flags. I got a whole bunch of Civil War flags. Don't matter what you say. But anyway, so going back on topic, anywho.
Allie Beads says cursing is a must.
It is.
Right.
But it was in all seriousness. I know it's this topic thing, but what was fascinating about when we did this podcast the other day, though, in all seriousness, was like we said before, is how it changed, right? Yep. And what was funny is I don't think we even realized until we started doing it, like recording it.
Yeah.
Because we kind of changed. We started talking about the fun part of it, and then as we got into it, it just didn't it get kind of down.
I wouldn't describe it as down. I think it was more that we were realizing how the situation we're in now, we are relating to it because of what we read about the Civil War. Like you had Shaw's quote, I had Howard's quote, and I really related to what I read about Howard. I could have gone anywhere in his memoirs, but I chose before the capture of Savannah to see, or after the capture, to see what he was saying. And because I was like, hey, I got a lot of soldier stuff, but I want to know what the generals were thinking about this too. And to know that they were having those same struggles, it's not just the soldiers, the generals are doing it too. And Sherman saying, I would give $1 million to see my children,
That's a tough one to read with Howard there. And he was totally true. And Sherman, people don't study Sherman. He lost a child early in the war. That
really fucked with, right after Vicksburg, he lost Willie.
And that really fucked with his head.
It did,
I mean, it was very similar to the whole Willie Lincoln one. Yeah. But if you read Southern Storm, Mary, from Trudeau, and or any Sherman books, you talk about some of the quotes he had about losing his son Willie, about how much that deeply affected him. Clearly,
And then right after that, so Ellen had another baby, Charles. Charles ends up passing away too. Like that must have just been so hard for him. And I think what kept him going was the Chattanooga campaign, but he definitely was not himself in that. I mean, like, look at how he got out-generaled, right? And I think the March to the Sea was really what brought him back.
Well, wasn't there something about Willie, though, that you could just tell that really got to him? I mean, I don't know, it was the apple of his eye, or that phrase is, but there was
absolutely was. If you, I've got a book of his letters, and some of them are to Willie, obviously, before he dies. When he writes to that boy, you can just see, he does play the favorite with him, and he was so close with him. And there's a really, one of my favorite pictures of him is actually him and his son, and they're just looking right at each other in this one photo. Mm-hmm. And I think it was a lot like Lincoln lost his own son, Willie, as well, and that deeply affected him. But I think the losing of that kid for Sherman was, he never got over that, because he said, nobody will ever replace him in my heart at all.
And the other guy who were really affected on the Confederate side was James Longstreet, because, he lost a handful of kids all within about a 2-week period of that scarlet fever. And so I think he lost almost his entire family, and all of a sudden, mm-hmm. But it's anyway. So I'm glad we bring everybody down now. It's great. but that's how the podcast went, though, right?
It was, yeah, absolutely.
We started talking about this stuff, and then it just naturally, as we started talking about it, it made you feel just more oops, break my freaking iPad here. But I was whatever. But it definitely kind of a melancholy thing. But like we said in the podcast, is what the Civil War did for Christmas is made it a holiday that everyone focused of home.
It
You thought
made
about,
people
right?
appreciate family. And I think that's what we're going through this Christmas is we're going to come out of it appreciating family more. Like it seems like each and every year, starting at Thanksgiving, it's just so commercialized. It's about shopping and what you can buy. But I think we're going to see a switch to focusing more on family. So it's not going to be about the gift giving. It's going to be about who you can be with, appreciate being with them, appreciate being able to hug them again,
Mhm.
you know, because that's a huge thing for people too. But I think that's what the Civil War did. And I think we're going to find that post pandemic because this pandemic is going to end, has to.
The thing that resonated with me with this podcast was what you like literally just said.
Mm-hmm.
It was the fact that there are people in your life, who aren't there, right?
Absolutely.
Whether they're
Yep.
whether they're not alive anymore, or whether they're not there, or you can't see them.
Yeah.
But so, look, fortunately, we're not in the middle of some Civil War thing, and that's an issue because you're not worrying about dying the next day in some battle or some disease. But when you can't see the people you love, it's hard, and it just is. And so,
Yeah. Oh,
but
absolutely.
that's what the correlation is between now and then.
Yeah.
And that's what I started thinking of. And I know you did too.
Oh, absolutely.
As we were talking through this podcast, was it just as you talk about the soldier stories, and you read the quotes, and you did the same thing as I did. It started. You thought about your own situation. You thought about your own, and it did bring it down a little bit.
It definitely did, but it made me, I think there's hope for the future too, in that like, okay, we're going to come out of this as a society better. I think appreciating family more, appreciating friends, appreciating the people we love more, and just focusing more on that and not so much on the whole, like, oh, there's a sale here, there's a sale there, or whatever. It just seems like it's become so commercialized. And I think
there is some good sales though, Mary.
Oh, there are.
There's some bargains to be had.
There are. Allie B said he got notice of another child passing away. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I think it was Charles Allie that passed away. And Liza said the photo that I mentioned of Sherman and his kid breaks my heart. Yeah, it's really sad. Longstreet lost all of his children as well.
Yeah, that was Scarlet Fever. That was a tough one.
Yeah, and Allie K said it must make it that much harder to order men into battle when you have the perspective of losing your own children. Yeah, Or imagine fighting in a battle and seeing your own kid die like Hardy had to.
Mm-hmm. And that happened a lot of times. We have a lot of different things, But the problem was you have situations where people, you find out, it's not like this is the age of information now with internet and IMs and all that stuff. You had people who hadn't talked to their family. They go, how's things at home? Well, Johnny died, our son. What? I mean, that's just the way it was. It's a totally different world. It's a totally different world.
It is,
now.
yeah.
But I think the message we said was at the end, that war ended and they did get home and things are better. And the same thing with this. This is all going to be better.
Exactly. It is. And it's, ordering, like Allie K said, ordering men into battle, knowing you just lost your kid and knowing that you could be taking someone's kid away from them because you have to give that order. And I think that's like, that's making me think now of what Howard wrote to his friend, or his thoughts in his memoirs before Fredericksburg, were how sad he was that for not for himself, for his men, because Howard knows he's going to be far back from the battle. There's there's not the same risk of him getting killed as there is his men. I'm wondering, as a man Howard had a lot of kids, if he's thinking, I'm taking away someone's son, I'm taking away someone's father, I think that kind of plays into it as well for these guys. And I think it's something that actually doesn't get discussed a lot when you think of the generals.
Well, that's why it was always hard. A lot of these guys would have a real tough time trying to execute these people who were trying to leave camp for that reason, because they saw them as someone's son and they had their own kids. And these are all, whatever. But Ben, speak for yourself. I still have love hate with my sister.
Jim,
I know the feeling. I don't
Jim just said we're bringing him back up. Well, that's awesome, Jim. Happy to hear that. Yeah, we just we try to be, just want to be a place for people to come hang out and nerd out over the Civil War and all that and have some really great discussions. And Jim, you are definitely very, very an awesome part of this community here.
Yeah, and just remember, it's always darkest for the dawn, and your situation sucks, and I feel bad about that. But anything we could do to help put a smile on
We
your
love
face
having you
is-
as part. We love having all of you as part of this community. It's really awesome, and it's making Christmas a lot more.
Yeah,
It's fun, And the fact we get to do this next Saturday, the day after Christmas, is awesome too. So it'll be kind of like
you
this is
you
like a
can be
little
hung-
Christmas party.
Oh, I can't wait till your hangover next Saturday, Mary. A little too much eggnog over there in Goderich next week. It's gonna be worse than the usual Saturday morning in Goderich. Although you're not too bad today, though.
I woke up fine, and guess what? I've done some cleaning this morning. I've done laundry. I listened to the podcast, and I've put up with your shit.
Oh, well, in that order too.
Yes.
That's fine.
Allie K, really excited for the Cracker line to reopen. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of us waiting for that to open. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Oh God. I'm like, oh God, it needs to reopen. Ryan said, I always wondered if Carney shouting at McClellan was driven by the recent death of his child, Archie. Yeah. I would think there was a lot of stuff that probably played into things like that,
Well, you have to do more. I mean, when you study people, is people, not just names. Of course, it did. I mean, whether or not it's directly. This is an era. You had 5 kids, and you hope 3 of them lived to adulthood, right? But it didn't make it any easier. It's just one of those things, look. There was a Twitter feed yesterday about. At your age right now, if you lived in the 1800s, what would you have died of?
Yeah.
Most people list their age, and it's just, it was a different world back then. And so,
Oh, it was. Well, the other thing that hits me too is when I'm the same age as a certain general, like when I was, like I'm 38 now, but when I was 37, I thought a lot about Claiborne because that was how old he was when he died. And I was like, geez, that's like, and Pettigrew too was, I think, 35 when he passed away.
and they're all young. I mean,
Yeah. And just to think of the potential that somebody, that they could have had on both sides, right? Just on the Confederate side of it, somebody that, sees things differently and is able to aid in Reconstruction somehow and be a voice for that. And the same with on the Union, like how many did we lose that could have made things that much better,
it's a tough thing to even think about, let alone talk about. I mean, the reality.
Yep. Allie K said, my husband hasn't seen his Canadian parents in way too long, and then we can have a Gettysburg get together. Absolutely.
I think Memorial Day weekend is the next Gettysburg plan, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Maybe we'll see what's to come down for that. We'll figure something out with that.
Yeah.
But definitely, just don't wear that hat.
Well, I'm wearing this hat now.
God.
Christmas in May.
Well, we'll see you later on. We're going out. Have a great time.
Tim just joined us. He asked if I talked smack about Ohio yet. Oh, we both have.
Yeah, Chim, just so you know, I'm drinking a purple beer in support of the Northwestern Wildcats today, who are going to play the loser State University today, and hopefully they win. But
I got
she's got a little
purple.
purple too.
Yeah.
But Tim, what we did agree upon though is that regardless of the Ohio State game against Northwestern, we're all on board with Notre Dame losing today against Clemson. So that was the common ground, right? That was our at malice towards none moment. So hopefully, definitely, we'll definitely do that.
Ryan said, I'm the same age as Caesar when he started his military career. And to be fair, I'm seriously thinking about invading France as a prelude to toppling this government. As a classical studies student, I appreciate that. That's what my degree's in, is classical studies. I appreciate the Caesar reference.
That's pretty cool. And you know something, you can never go have too much Guy Fawkes in your life, Ryan. I
want to watch that movie again.
That's a good movie. I
want to watch that again. Him making eggs is my favorite thing ever with the apron.
Notre Dame haters. Allie, come on. Seriously, you're a Minnesota fan? You like Notre Dame? How is that even possible? Look, Roger, I know you do. But how the hell is that even possible? Really? Okay, that's fine.
Leonard said Gettysburg Get Together sounds like a Lifetime movie.
Oh, with you crying and whining probably the whole time? And me getting killed in the mine? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm gonna walk in there and be like, first core broke first.
Oh god, you get those fucking battlefield guys be like, "Ugh," and I'll be like,
Howard called it before Hancock.
and you'll be like, you got a problem, you fight him. Fuck.
Scott just said, I'm an Ohio State fan and my wife is a
Oh
Notre
my
Dame fan.
God,
Ooh.
wow, that's. Ooh. Hey, what's going on, Ian? Ian jumping
Hey,
in. And
another guy from England.
yeah, that's
Ian
definitely
Ryan's here from England too.
no the John Catholics. John, the problem is that the real Catholic University is based out of Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, not based out of South Bend, Indiana. That school in Indiana is a French name in the middle of nowhere. It has nothing to do with Catholics, but it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. I'm not bitter at all about it, but that's fine.
Tim said next on Hallmark Channel Christmas Marathon, General Howard's very special Yuletide.
Can you imagine that?
Oh my God. It would be very religious.
Every time I can shuffle a deck of cards, an angel gets its wings.
What?
Who has the one arm?
You know, he probably was able to get by pretty well.
I guess it depends on what get by means, but
Scott said, it's okay, Weeks. I understand jealousy.
jealousy, please. Okay,
John, don't come here for hot sports takes.
definitely Notre Dame jealousy. Oh, I don't know about that. Probably Notre Dame fans never talk hockey. They always talk about football. That's okay.
Advantage of being a Southern boy, says Leonard. Ryan, Ian might actually be English rather than a very confused. Oh yes, Ryan is Irish. I should say he is Irish.
Oh, we keep. You know what? He's Irish, but he lives in England.
Yes,
right? That's what the deal is. That's why I always get confused by that. I always get confused with that.
Yeah. Hey, my heritage is mainly Irish, so.
Hey, Roger, BC has a winning football team too, by the way, in case you're really curious. So that's okay.
Allie K, poor Ryan. We keep giving him a monarchy he doesn't want.
Well, I mean, calling an Irish guy English is probably a big insult.
It is. I'm so sorry, Ryan.
You know, that's okay, but we'll keep doing it again.
I did say from England. I didn't say English. There we go.
That's true. That's true.
Look at me backtracking. Brocken bow, as you say, broken ran.
Broken ran. Hey, but it's good to see you feeling better, though. Last Saturday.
Oh, God. Last Saturday, that was like, I felt like I had a fucking ice pick going through my eye all day.
So the people behind the scenes, Mary had a little bit of a migraine last Saturday. May not have heard about it every day the entire week. But she's feeling better now, which is very important. That's the most important thing about it. It did, though.
Because you kept asking me, are you feeling better? And I kept saying, yes, I am.
Are we doing this?
You know? Yeah, I do. I'm going to be doing that about your fucking flag all week.
Oh, really? You mean that one? When I was shamed to getting? What happened to you in Ohio, Indiana, Darren? I don't know what that means.
Jail.
What?
Jail.
Oh,
Scott said, didn't Howard invent the pocket knife? Or is that
Did
just attribute him like a hooker thing? I actually don't know.
I hadn't heard about that.
Neither have I.
No, because pocket knives have they've been around since the days of Roman Empire, haven't they? I know he's old, but he's not that old.
I think Scott might be joking.
No. That'd be kind of cool, though, because all kinds of little stories. Like we talked about the fact that Burnside invented that repeating rifle,
and gave out the patent on it.
You know, and lost all that money. But that's pretty cool that some of these guys did that. We talked about, we haven't talked about obviously all of Ben Franklin's inventions. And
Scott, a one-handed pocket knife.
Maybe it was one of those ones like in those movies. You open up.
Allie B said, the war between the flag and the migraine, who will get the most pity? Allie B, you know who's going to get the most pity because you know who's going to whine the most about it, right?
Yeah, that's definitely.
Weeks. Bad mayor, totally mayor.
Wait, what?
Burnside, a carbine, McClellan.
Yeah, McClellan saddle. That's right.
Oh, Scott's serious. So I'm going to have to look that up about Howard.
All right, that's some homework assignment. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. He did that. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I could see him doing that though. He's a pretty intelligent guy.
We got to get Howard University sweatshirts, man.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I do want to. I want a Howard hoodie.
Yeah.
And then I can wear it at work.
I'll be like Belichick, and I can cut the one sleeve off of it. like the one arm.
One-armed hoodie. Yeah, so Ryan brings up a good point. Like McClellan invented the McClellan saddle.
Yeah, that is
There's
pretty
a few
cool.
of them that had inventions during the Civil War. Like Abraham Lincoln is the only president to hold a patent for that.
Isn't it ironic that never mind, I was thinking of something else, but it is funny how these guys invented stuff. But the Burnside story is something though. I mean, the fact that he sold the patent right before the Civil War.
Yeah.
But like he's like the Charlie Brown of the Civil War we've talked about before.
Well,
That's
then
pretty
fucking
cool.
AP Hill shows up at Antietam and is all, I want my fucking money, asshole. To Burnside.
Well, I love that story with Hill.
I know,
though.
that's so
I mean,
awesome.
well, I mean, you think of these stories, these stern military, these Patton, MacArthur types, and the fact that he left Harper's Ferry out of pure spite and saved the Confederacy. I mean, it's unfortunate that the war could have theoretically ended right there, at least in the East, right?
Oh yeah.
But because of jealousy, spite, and redemption, he marched his guys from Harper's Ferry to Antietam, and he paved the way to get the Confederacy out. It's just those stories that are so cool to real. Like, people don't even realize that,
How do you think he was with Jackson after that battle? Do you think he was all like,
I think Jackson was cool from after the battle. Yeah, he was active. He was probably doing the whole Z-snap thing.
oh, he went up to Jackson and was like, fucker.
He's like, AP stands for awesome person.
Yeah.
That's what he did. But that's a true story though. And the fact that he dated McClellan's wife at the time,
and then her mother spreads rumors all over New York City that he had gone to the Bang Barn and got gonorrhea.
I don't know if that was a rumor though. I mean,
She found out about it, and then she starts doing this kind of whisper campaign all over New York about him, right? And it just whatever.
I mean, he probably went up to New York City. Probably, God knows what he did. I mean, the gonorrhea story is probably not true. Because I think that's the type of thing that kind of stays with you. I think I'm not an expert on gonorrhea.
But
thank God.
Wasn't he ill right before the Battle of Gettysburg?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was gonorrhea though.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, there was a lot of look at how Grant's drinking. Like Halleck saw him drunk once, and then he was like, "I'm gonna get this fucker." And he did for the rest of his life.
Grant had his moments, though. He got shit-faced hard in the
Grant
Vicksburg campaign.
was not... I don't think Grant was an alcoholic. He was just one of those guys that he would have one beer or a couple shots of bourbon, and he would be fucking done. Kind of like you.
Okay. Well, okay, fine. I got 3 words for you. Call me maybe.
That's after how many?
Probably 2. We'll tell that story someday. Oh, God. I wish I kept that fucking video. Oh, my God. Anyway. But, jeez, here we go. But I think, but A.P. Hill's a fascinating guy, though. I'm not sure if the gonorrhea story was substantiated or not.
Yeah.
Or if it's just, but it very well could have been. I mean,
Alex
he
feels like he was sick all the time.
I mean, he lived up to Sailor's Creek and got killed right before the end of the war. He got shot right at the very end, which is too bad. But he was sick. He was sick all the time. But I mean, I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure what the gonorrhea symptoms are. Thank God. I mean, I don't know if it's a situation.
This seems like an asking for a friend thing.
Yeah. Hey, if anybody's online has gonorrhea, can you know what the symptoms are?
Asking for
seriously.
a friend.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it was a situation that would affect him, but I'm not sure what the situation was. That was but it definitely they were all sick though. I mean, they all were. I mean,
they all had health. Like Halleck had health issues. Like it's really funny. In Fierce Patriot by Robert L. O'Connell, he makes reference to Halleck having a serious case of hemorrhoids.
At least his problems were behind him. But you know what though? But you have Heath getting shot in the head at Gettysburg, but he survived because he put the newspaper in there, but that made him dazed. That's why the movie was so silly, though. The Gettysburg movie was they showed him in scenes, and he was out sleeping for the entire weekend. I mean, Henry, he was basically not cold.
Ryan said, as you explain the symptoms, you're becoming paler and paler. And Ellie B says, we're an expert on this. Yeah. Ryan's actually she says, interesting topic for another time. Best non-combat general officer. Herman Hopt. I have a great old book on him. Please enable us about that, Ryan. Or Josiah Gorgas.
You know, that Hopt house went for sale, Mary, in Gettysburg, like a year ago. It was like $1 million right at the corner
Really?
of oh god. That would have been a nice. That would have right in the corner of Fairfield Road in Confederate Avenue, right there. That would have been the house to get right there.
Amelia, she's into patents and stuff. She says Jeb Stuart invented a saber holder and Sibley the Sibley tent, both while in U.S. service before the war, so licensed only to feds. Beauregard had no wartime patents, but invented a few things before, and allegedly the cable car after. He has a patent, but the OG San Francisco inventor has some too, and they had a beef. Amelia always brings those interesting patent facts too. That's really cool.
Hey, Amelia, thanks for reaching out to my friend Rebecca, by the way. I don't know if she responded to you back or not, but it was cool that you did that. I tagged you in that Twitter thing, and she's cool. She's one of my sports friends, but hopefully you connected with her, whatever help she needed. But Ben, can we tell the story now? Nope. I'm not telling that story. In fact, are you kidding me? I'm killed. But let's call me maybe story. Let's say that for another day.
Instead of hardtack and coffee, bang barns and gonorrhea. Gosh. Oh, Scott said he was wrong about the knife Howard thing.
What?
He was wrong about Howard and the knife.
Oh, okay. I mean, you know what? The truth be told, I think we would have heard that before, to be honest. You know.
So Allie Kay said, everyone was probably sick all the time. Honestly, that was probably the most miserable thing about being in the Civil War. Yeah, after you and I found that one dude in Plymouth, Scorbutic guy.
Scorbutic guy.
We were like, he died in the battle. He had to have died of his wounds. Then we looked up, it's like, oh.
So we were stumbling around a cemetery in Plymouth one day, and Massachusetts, where the Rock of Plymouth is. And so we right on, we pay attention to something.
No, I am. I'm listening to you.
Okay, but,
Rock of Plymouth. I know, because I've heard about it every day since. It will forever be the Rock of Plymouth.
Is that the Rock of Plymouth?
You know what we're going to do? Post-pandemic, we're going to go to Plymouth, and I'm going to wear my General Thomas t-shirt, and you're going to take a picture of me with the Rock of Plymouth.
Oh, okay. That sounds thrilling. You could jump down there.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Then we'll get arrested and have to go to jail.
So we found a gravestone. He was a Civil War guy. He had a Civil War plaque, and he died in 1862, Halloween, October 31st, 1862. So we thought, okay, he must have fought in probably Antietam, died afterwards. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Mary, let's look up this name. So we went on the Find a Grave site, and we looked him up, and he died of scorbutic diarrhea. Like, fuck. Like, something. Oh my God.
So then I had to go Google that and find out what that was, and I was like, ooh. Mark said Darren House enabling 154 Doubleday Ave is for sale.
Right, Renee, you mentioned I'm sorry, Mark. You mentioned the other day, and that is my dream, is buying a house right there behind Oak Ridge, right where Will's Woods are, because that's the place to buy. I may have to look into that, because I've driven that road so many times, a little neighborhood with those houses and the trees, and buying a house there, because you can look in the property, metal detect all there, and you're actually on. Yeah. I'm gonna look into that one, Mary.
Yeah, you need to look into that this afternoon.
Headquarters. But that's definitely thanks for mentioning that. I know you mentioned that the other day. I think it was you. Either you or someone did. But I'm gonna look into that, because I got a broker. I'm actively looking for a house in Gettysburg to basically to move down to, and so I'm gonna that would be awesome. Wouldn't that be cool?
It would be. That would be cool to live there.
Yeah, you can come down and help mow my lawn and stuff. It'd be really cool.
Fucker. Mark's going to send you the link. Jim said, my great-great-grandfather, Daniel Byrd, was kicked in the groin while shoeing his horse during the Civil War, which resulted in a case of hemorrhoids, which lasted for 40 years, which literally drove him crazy. He was declared insane in 1900 and died without a cent in 1902. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Jeez.
He got kicked in the junk by a horse, got hemorrhoids, lost his mind, and died. That's
the thing, though, that you don't hear about as much in the Civil War, is like, as much as these guys died from their wounds, what other stuff were they dying from? Obviously disease, but then getting kicked in the balls by a horse.
So You Had a Bad Day song was written about him then, is what that was.
That or Hancock. How are you doing? Well, I'm not having as bad a day as Hancock was on July the 3rd with a nail in, you know,
When you think about a
Porky
pencil
Piggy in our
Hancock, Porky Pig on a chair. Could you imagine him sitting there like, find this goddamn thing? And you sit with no chair, no pants. God. I mean, but that sucks. That and the Cushing injury too.
Oh.
You know, you get shot in the groin, okay, and you're holding your junk from leaking out,
Oh.
and you're still commanding orders. You get shot in your mouth while it's yelling. It blew back your head out. That's how Cushing died.
Oh. It'd be rough for Hancock. Rough. Ben, are you trying to make every guy cringe?
But there's some you know we yeah there's some obviously tough stories. So I'm not going to take your email. Thank you. I'm going to look into that definitely. First barbecue trip, definitely. You kidding me? But no, but there's some brutal. I mean, that was, you know, when we found that dude's grave, who I'm forgetting his name on, and who's buried in Plymouth with all the Pilgrim people, Mary, was that's got to be a shitty way to go, literally and figuratively. But I mean, if you think about how many people, how disease killed most people in the Civil War.
It did, yeah. Like if the disease didn't get you, then, or disease, if the wounding didn't get you, then disease would. And even if you were wounded and then you had an amputation, depending on where it was in your body, you were more likely to die. Like somebody like Howard recovered pretty quickly because I think it was at his elbow that he had his arm taken.
But no, about Hancock, that story. I mean, the funny part about Hancock is, you know, because he was just such a bastard, right? Just did hard military, probably no sense of humor at all. And they told him, okay, Winnie, okay, drop your pants, get on that chair on top of the table, and then we're going to probe you. He's probably like, you know, picture Bill Belichick up there. That's who Hancock was.
You don't think Hancock had a sense of humor?
Not zero.
That's true. See, I think like Howard had a sense of humor. Sherman had a sense of humor. I think Meade had a sense of humor.
I don't think Hancock did. I think Hancock was just that guy who just was all business all the time. And the fact that he went to the first Minnesota reunion and spoke and said, I know I killed all your friends, but I'm glad I did it, and I had to do it. He was just that guy. When honest to God, no, seriously, when I think of Hancock, I think of Belichick. That's who I think of. He probably had a sense of humor with his friends, but it was probably very dry.
Yeah.
But he was all the time. So you picture him pantsless sitting on that chair, it makes it even funnier.
It does. But that's just the thing. Like, how many of these guys had senses of humor and how many of them didn't? You know, like I think Meade definitely did. Howard from his memoirs, Sherman from his memoirs, he was hilarious. I think Grant was like Howard, quiet, and then he would say like this terrific one-liner and everybody would laugh. You know?
See, Tim, shut up with Belichick. You know, Belichick, you know, Tim, if he stayed in Cleveland, you guys could have that dynasty there. You guys blew that, huh? Oh, well, damn, that sucks. That sucks. That's okay. Hey, at least the Browns won last weekend. Oh, wait, they didn't. Ravens got them. Oh, well, that's okay. Anyway, I don't hate the Browns. Browns are fine. But I don't think Hancock had much of a sense of humor at all. I really don't think he did. But that's what makes the story that much funnier. Yeah. Because someone told him, General, drop your pants, climb on the table, and get in that chair. Someone had to tell him that. He's probably like, ugh, and he did it. But it saved his life, though. Oh, it did, yeah. But then he thought they were shooting nails at him because they were out of bullets, right? He didn't realize it was from his saddle. It was. Allie B said, Grant was very quiet, but I've seen multiple times that he had a pretty funny sense of humor. His line about Charles Sumner kills me. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, Allie B, with that. I think they're all regular people, but they're all different styles. I think Hancock to me sounds like someone who probably took himself a little more seriously than he probably was, right? Yeah, and I think that's one reason why him and Howard probably clashed. Because Howard was like, I think Howard was really funny. Despite, like, you know, there's the whole Christian thing. You think he's going to be serious, but then you read his memoirs and you realize, like, whoa, this guy he's got the typical New England sense of humor. He was probably dry, sarcastic, witty. Obviously, you know, attractive, like all of us New Englanders are. Same deal, you know. But I think he had a very dry sense of humor. He probably did. Yeah. 'cause, I mean, if you're from here, that's who you are. It just is.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. I saw it in like what I read about Fredericksburg. Like I said, I saw the sarcasm, and I've seen it like even when he was growing, like when he writes about growing up, he admits that he was like a brat with his parents. Like he's like I got in fist fights and stuff. Like he was an absolute brat.
you know, Leonard, the mini ball pregnancy. I remember that's a good story right there. From Vicksburg, the girl got pregnant by getting a mini ball shot. And it's just okay.
What?
It has that whole mini ball story.
What is this?
I'll have to look up the details. I don't know, but a woman got pregnant because I think she had got shot. I'm not sure how. You've told the story. I'm a little rusty on this one. I've heard it before where she got hit in Vicksburg, one of the residents, and got pregnant and blamed the mini ball. Or something. It's something like that. I used to know the story. I haven't thought about it in years, but it's something like that. But it's pretty funny.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Jim said, I think it's like MASH. You have to have a sense of humor to make it through the most horrible times. My sister is a registered nurse, and the medical profession in general is known for its dark humor. Well, first of all, Jim, that's awesome about your sister, because she's clearly on the front lines
cool.
in this pandemic. So good for her. But yeah, I think, MASH is one of my favorite shows. I love it. And yeah, you do have to have a sense of humor, but you see that in some of these biographies that you read, like, the one that you're going to read about Claiborne, the snowball fight. You think these dudes are so serious, and then here's Joseph E. Johnston. He looks like a serious dude. He's organizing a fucking snowball fight. And someone like Howard, you think, okay, they're Christian, they probably don't have a sense of humor. You read his memoirs and you realize he's the guy that's the comedian in the room at times. And I think the same about George Meade too. I think he was probably a bit of a comedian himself.
That's true. But yeah, Leonard's right. So the bullet went through a guy's junk just south of Manchester, Mary, and then hit a girl, and then she got pregnant. That's like one of those I rode a motorcycle with a bathing suit and I got pregnant stories.
Yeah,
right?
You're not telling what happened when the motorcycle stopped.
Yeah, I think she but that's what that story was. That's a Vicksburg. It's a Vicksburg.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that in forever. Where the hell did I read that recently? This is one of the books I read recently.
Probably Groom's book.
No, it wasn't a Groom's book. It was a couple of years ago now. But that's how it was. So hey, maybe who knows? You know what? Maybe it happens, Mary.
Maybe. And Leonard posted a link to the story. Ben said MASH is amazing, and he's named after Hawkeye and BJ. That's cool.
Who is?
Ben.
What? Ben, really?
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. I love MASH. MASH is good. You know what the problem with MASH was, though? Is it was a comedy. And the final episode was like the most depressing goddamn
It was.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, you go away. That'd be like if Seinfeld's finale was a tearjerker, the whole thing. It just was. So it was, I liked it, but it was, and I just feel bad because Alan Alda's got Parkinson's disease now.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see him, I saw him on one of the political shows I was watching. And he was all just the way he was, which is really, really too bad. Because he's a good actor. He was good. He was good in West Wing. Alan Alda, towards the end of the series, I think he played one of the candidates running against one of them. But he was good in that show too.
Ben said I bawled my eyes out when Blake died.
Yeah, but that was a tough. The MASH thing was tough, but
yeah. Wouldn't it be cool to have like a MASH type show but set in Civil War?
Yeah, I mean it'd be kind of brutal. You could do it. You could make it like after Clara Barton married. Maybe you could play her.
Ooh.
Wow, didn't expect that, but it's like
I love Clara Barton. She's awesome.
You can do the triage system. Bring me the least damaged guys, you fuckers. But that'd be they tried that with that Mercy Street show.
Yeah. Oh, Paul just brought any watch Mercy Street.
Yeah. Mercy was
that good. Mercy Street was so good, and like I was I told my parents to watch it because they like are big into PBS, and my dad's like a Downton Abbey fanboy. Anyway, so they finally got into Mercy Street and they loved it, and then they were so upset when it ended.
The woman, the star, was in that movie Cloverdale 2.
Yeah, and she's also an Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. She was
but she's awesome.
Oh,
But
she
then,
is.
but then,
She's
I,
so
I
good.
cannot, I cannot believe they canceled Mercy Street because that
I
show was
know.
so
It was
good.
really, really good.
You know,
We
I
could
remember,
watch that.
yeah. Well, the Patriots when they beat the Falcons, okay. Tim Belichick was a coach of that game too, by the way. I mentioned Belichick, but halftime of that game when the Pats were getting absolutely killed.
Mhm.
I watched the final episode of that at the time. I didn't realize it would be was a series finale of Mercy Street.
I
And
still have not watched the series
right.
finale. I couldn't. I was so upset when it
But
ended.
there wasn't a finale. It was just an end of an episode. It was the end of a season. They never brought it
Yeah.
back. But I remember watching that at halftime of that game when they were down 28-3. They obviously came back and won. But watching that night was a weird, kind of a surreal night.
Yeah.
But that show was so well written.
It was.
You know what it reminds me a lot of, Mary, was the John Brown thing.
Yes.
That's what it reminds
absolutely.
me. Like the way the cinematography was and the dialogue, John Brown reminded me a lot of Mercy Street. And so they need to bring that back. That's what they need to do.
Yeah. I need to actually watch it again because I didn't watch the ending because I was so upset it was ending. Paul said even the jerky doctor and head nurse had a frank and hot lips relationship, even used a couple of MASH lines. Yep. Ryan's doing some book enabling. Lincoln's Railroad Man, Herman Hopt, Francis A. Lord. Ryan is definitely one of our book enablers.
I don't think I've read that one, but Herman Hopt, he's an interesting guy. I mean, and that's the thing, you know, one of my, back before the world ended, when I was going to my actual physical Civil War Roundtable meetings, we had a discussion on the railroads. And you don't realize how much the railroad system that exists today was built during the Civil War.
They did.
And how much this country went from kind of a can't get anywhere to a go anywhere society almost overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And Herman Hoppe was a big part of that. I mean, a huge part of that. And he was something that people don't really realize is understanding the railroad system and how obviously it's important. I mean, you think about most of these battles were fought along railroad trails or rivers into the water. You know, you needed the Battle of Gettysburg, you needed 25,000 gallons of water a day just to cool the cannons.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that's all. I mean, that's why these places are all fought along water. They needed the water.
Exactly. And the other thing too, there was a really good book that came out back in, I think it was April it was released, called Lincoln on the Verge by Ted Widmer, he's a former Clinton speechwriter. It's a very, very good book. One of the best books I've ever read about Abraham Lincoln, and it's about his inaugural journey. And he discusses the railways in the United States during the 1860s when Lincoln would have been making his inaugural journey to Washington. And he talks about how there's different gauges and just how the South did not embrace the railway in the same way that the North did. So that was something that was a detriment to them when the Civil War came about, because they did not have the railway system that the North had. And then there was different gauges and all that. So that's why you had to like switch tracks all the time. Like that's why Lincoln had to switch tracks in Baltimore, because I think it was a different gauge that he was about to go on. So
you mean when he was getting inaugurated?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Well, that was interesting about the Lincoln inauguration, though, Marion, is that they had to sneak him in. So he was in Philly, and I took a picture right in front of where he stood. I don't know if you saw that picture, but they took him to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and he was supposed to come the next day to Baltimore, and it was a big deal. But they stuck him out that night. Yeah, because of the assassination. So
the Baltimore plot, and
they had to put a cover over his head so people couldn't see him in the window, and it was just a different era back then. But that story, what the hell book was that in? That was I got to think about that now. There was a book I read that really was like the first half of the book was describing Lincoln making it to Washington. It was so detailed. It wasn't the first half. It was probably the first 5 chapters.
Well, this one, Jim just said Lincoln on the Verge, which is the book I just mentioned, is a fantastic book. Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Simon & Schuster was really nice, and they sent me an advance copy to review, which I did on my blog. But it is like one of the best books I've ever read about Abraham Lincoln. It was so good. And he talks about, like, it's not just focused on Lincoln. He talks about when Lincoln goes to the city, he talks about some of the famous people that would have been there. And he mentions when that he's in Albany, New York, that John Wilkes Booth was probably there watching the train.
Yeah.
It was Albany, New York, which I was like, whoa, and I didn't know you at the time. Otherwise I would have been messaging you, because I was reading this book in February.
I mean, that's one of those stories that, again, that's one of those John Wilkes Booth sighting stories that it's not substantiated. Who the hell knows if he was or he wasn't? But but that's one of those stories. John Wilkes Booth. The problem with him was that in hindsight, they put him everywhere because he was a guy with the
Mhm.
mustache like everybody else did.
Yeah, but Widmer
We,
really did his research for this. Widmer, in
mm,
his research, actually uncovered some unknown Thomas Nast sketches of Lincoln.
speaking of Thomas Nast, Mary,
Yeah, he was in our episode. Actually,
he
Ryan
was.
does have a point about your railways, though.
Yeah.
But the story of the behind the scenes generals, the quartermasters, the ordnance guys, the railroads guys are too often ignored, which I think you and I would both agree with. Hopt, Gorgas, Meeks, Ingalls, etc. Yeah, they are
Mhm.
ignored. They're the ones that are having to keep this going behind the scenes, and they don't get credit. But then there's Sherman doing his march, and he's like, rip up all the fucking railways, right?
Uh,
Leonard's got to head out. Thank you for stopping by, Leonard. He said, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. May Santa Claus bring you lots of books and peppermint hardtack.
oh, nice. Yeah, thanks for stopping by,
Nice,
Leonard.
Leonard. Thank you,
I
Leonard.
can't wait to see what I fucked up this episode with the meme you're going to make. But I'll look for I'll look forward to that. But have a great Christmas, Leonard. If we don't talk to you, definitely you're the best.
Paul was wondering, is it The Hour of Peril? The
It
book that you're
it might be.
thinking
It
of?
very well could be. Because it's described in many. But that's probably it. To be honest, I can't remember the top of my head. It's one of those friggin' books I have upstairs. But there's a lot of that though.
Yeah. Scott just said in Chattanooga, you can ride an old steam-powered train through Tunnel Hill. It's pretty cool. I've heard about that. I definitely want to do
You do that
that.
to Harper's Ferry too.
Yeah. Plus, it's Tunnel Hill.
Oh, it's Tunnel Hill, yeah.
Well, that's where my boy was, Claiborne.
Oh God. but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Chattanooga. To be, I've never been there. You're gonna
We have
love
such a
Harper's. You're gonna love
Oh
Harper's
yeah.
Ferry.
Well, I'm looking forward to showing you Chattanooga, taking you up to Lookout Mountain, showing you Chickamauga Battlefield and all that. But yeah, like I was telling you, I've never been to Tunnel Hill before, where Claiborne was. Never been.
Okay.
I stayed in the area. The Airbnb I stayed at when I was there last year was like I talked to the owners and I asked them. I said, "Okay, do you know anything about the Civil War?" And they're like, "Oh, not very much, but a little bit." And I said, "Are we on Missionary Ridge?" And he's like, "Yes, we are. We're near Tunnel Hill." And I was like, I was staying around where Claiborne's men would have been, which is pretty cool.
So you did go to like Browns Ferry or
Nope,
Wauhatchie?
never been. All
right, so we'll
never
definitely
been.
do that then.
Yeah, never been. But yeah, it's like Chattanooga is a really, really cool place. There's lots of bars, restaurants, breweries there. But the battlefield is just like, what I want to do is park at the visitor center and walk the Union line that Thomas had, because it stretches for a mile. So from the visitor center all the way up to Snodgrass, which is about a mile. And that's where the Union line was, because the visitor center is right by the Lafayette Road, which is the key road that the Union had to keep. Allie B said, it's really cool. Going to Orchard Knob was awesome. You really get an idea of how much they could see from that point. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I mean, yeah, definitely Browns Ferry, because as you said, Darren, didn't you say Browns Ferry was the most important covert operation of the Civil War?
It's, in my opinion, it's by far
It
number
is.
one.
Yeah.
By far number one. You know, all due respect to Henry Harrison, Mary.
Mhm.
You know, the great Henry Harrison. But I think that one was, because you know what though, you gotta look at the big picture with that whole thing. If that doesn't happen, there's a real good chance Grant's army gets completely bagged right there.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There is. Yeah. Tim mentioned Willich is a hero of Missionary Ridge. He must have been down where Thomas's men were, because where Sherman was, that was a shit show. Like that was, to me, that was Sherman's worst day. Lori M says, Chattanooga is my area of the world. Oh, that's awesome.
It's nice. And that's the great thing about these battlefields is is these places you can actually go and visit.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to American Battlefield Trust, the Franklin Battlefield Trust.
Yeah.
Is like every year on my birthday, I always donate money for them and to save money for them, because you know what, there's a good chance. I mean, it'll be well after our lives are over, Mary. 50 years from now, probably these places could be gone.
Exactly.
Strip malls.
It's important to save them.
And if it wasn't for the great Dan Sickles, Mayor.
Yes, exactly.
Right, that whole southern part of the battlefield of Gettysburg would be a neighborhood right now.
Exactly. Say what you will about Sickles, but I mean, I am Team Meade all the way. But I do respect Dan Sickles for what he did with the battlefield preservation, as well as I agree what he did on July the 2nd. had he not done that, things might have gone very different for the Union. But he was also into battlefield preservation, you know?
Well, I think he realized, he said that quote before, where he said the whole battlefield is my monument. He was,
Yeah, I was just thinking of that
right,
quote.
right. You know, well, he was going to get that monument. He was going to get his head bust put in the
Yeah,
Excelsior Monument over there at the Gettysburg. But he was right about that, and that's why, you know what, and that's why, like, as you study these things, you talk before a pedigree, for example, right?
yeah,
Is, you know, these you look at on a certain cursory Reader's Digest level. Okay,
yeah,
Sickles bad, Pettigrew said nothing, Howard bad.
yeah,
But then as you study them and you realize the different levels, right?
yeah,
And Sickles is a guy who was probably, well, definitely was underappreciated. You know why? Because he pissed off so many people politically in
yeah.
the early 20th century and the late 19th century,
Hmm.
that he was labeled. Right. So if you're sitting a little round top like me, smoking your cigar, looking at the battlefield, okay, appreciating it, watching the sunset, thank Dan Sickles, because that's why,
Exactly.
because he's the one,
Exactly.
he's the reason why you're looking at that vista. He's the reason why.
Exactly. And Tim says Sickles on the second was a damn fool. I respectfully have to disagree with that
Yeah,
because
I'm gonna disagree with that too.
because his orders, like Meade said, Meade basically gave him, you know, permission, if you feel it right, move your corps. And
The pro,
the thing with Sickles is he's got the ghost of Chancellorsville with him too. But because he moved his corps forward to the Peach Orchard, yes, they end up getting slaughtered, but it surprised Longstreet. Like Longstreet was not expecting that. And things could have gone very different had he not done that.
well, I think even before that, a couple things that people don't realize. For one, you know, when Sickles had his guys set between Round Top and that whole area, I'm sure everybody's been in Gettysburg knows exactly where his corps was, right? They had not determined at that point whether or not Gettysburg was going to be an offensive or defensive battle at that
Yep.
point. Meade had just arrived that night. He hadn't seen the battlefield yet. He wanted to be ready for offensive or defensive. Now, he's coming off of his Hazel Grove situation at
Yeah.
Chancellorsville. So he knew he needed artillery. Now, in Sickles' defense, he went to Meade and said, can I adjust my line? And Meade said yes. And he let him do it. He brought Henry Hunt with him to help him adjust his line and said,
Yeah.
can I move here? He goes, yup, this is a great artillery platform here in the Peach Orchard. He put Graham's guys right up there, and he spread out Humphreys, he spread out, you know, all those guys down the line. But Meade, where Sickles gets in trouble is he blew off that meeting. When he
Exactly.
had the war council on the afternoon of the 2nd, when Meade had to go look for him, and when Meade's son said, I went to go find Sickles, he ain't where he said he was.
And
Meade
Meade
said,
was like,
oh, fuck,
fuck
right.
that.
He said, fuck. So he went out to ride after him. But he says, you know, he said, General, I was under the impression you told me I could adjust my line. And then Meade had that quote. He goes, yes, General, but I didn't tell you to advance on Richmond. That's the quote he said.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's miscommunication, right? But people talk about how they broke up the fish hook. Well, the fish hook didn't exist then.
No, it didn't.
Did not exist until later that night.
Exactly.
So,
It wasn't until
right?
Warren had figured out, like Warren. So the thing that about the Battle of Gettysburg is that Meade is having to go and put out the fires that are already happening. So
Right.
he's meeting with Sickles, and Warren comes to him and says, I think there might be something going on in the Round Tops. I want to go find out about it. That was smoke. Warren saw the smoke where there could be potential fires. So
Well,
Warren
right.
goes up to the Round Tops, and that's why you end up having more of the fish hook, I think. Am I
Well,
correct?
the fish hook in the morning of the 2nd of July did not exist.
No, it didn't.
Okay. And so, but when you look at the historical memory again, Sickles broke away from the fish hook and broke the line and made a
But he
salient.
didn't. He just made it
He,
like it's just
right.
it was like that.
He did move away and he did create his own line. He did create a salient. I mean, so basically, you know, you're being, you know, he created a situation where he could be attacked at 270 degrees, which is what he did. Okay. And that's a huge military mistake. But he went to the high ground in a situation where if his battle was to be converted to an offensive attack, he had to have that ground.
Exactly.
He also thought, like a lot of them did, the Union line ended where Pitzer's Woods is now. Okay. That's why he sent in the 3rd Maine and Berdan sharpshooters into that area, and he bumped into Cadmus Wilcox's guys because he was probing the line. And when he ran into Confederates, he thought that was the end of the line. Now, Sickles' position at the Peach Orchard is a great position if that's where the line ends. But as it turns out by Warren, to your point, the line extended all the way to the Confederate right and put them, they were going to get flanked. So in hindsight, again, it made a wrong position. But again, we've had 150 years to review that situation. But at the time when Sickles was under the understanding that you could be converted to an offensive attack at any moment, and he needed to be in position to do so either way, and he got permission to do it, it's tough to blame him. Now, at the end of the day,
Exactly.
he got his core wrecked. He definitely
he did. But what
right?
that did to, I think, kind of save the Union Army and all that. Like, and again, as you say, we've had 150 years to look back on this. We don't know what's in Sickles' mind at the time. He's got the ghosts of Chancellorsville there, just like Howard does at this battle. Same with Slocum, right? And they're carrying those ghosts with them because they are the ones that come off the negative. They're the ones that really get put through the ringer for Chancellorsville. You know, Sickles did what he thought was right. And I mean, the guy's a bastard, but I mean, he's, for a political general, he's talent. Like, I think he made the right call. I can't imagine how, like, Hancock and Gibbon were probably like, the fuck is he doing moving in his fucking corps? Mark says that he doesn't mention it, but how Hazel Grove could not, how could Hazel Grove not have been in his head? He was screwed over once, wasn't going to happen again. That's an example of walking the ground and seeing how sucky his original position was. Yeah.
But the thing about it with Sickles, though, people make it sound like he just said, fuck it, I'm doing it. He got permission to do it.
He did.
And you know what, though? And, you know, Tim mentions that Cemetery Hill would have been impregnable if he stayed in position. Well, it was anyway. I mean, it was. If he, the thing that and I've talked to many, you know, my friend of mine who's a ranger there and talked to people, if he stayed in his position, how things would have changed. You know what would have changed, Mary? Nothing.
Exactly.
Right? Because they would have probed that the point of that attack on the 2nd was to find the Union left. So they would have done that. But if he stayed in his position, they would have gone around Big Round Top. They would have hit up the Emmitsburg Road and pivoted just like they would have, but it wouldn't have made a difference. And a big reason why is because the 6th Corps was not there yet, and they would have come in. And but jeez, did it again. But
Darren's getting fired up.
Getting dangerous now, Mary. But I mean, look, Sickles. Say what you will about him. I mean, personally, he was not the best guy and all that. But it's you can't. It's tough to blame him for that.
No, and I don't. And you know, this is how my opinion has changed. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like the typical, like, you know, like it's Pickett's charge. Now to me, it's Pettigrew, Pickett, Trimble, and I see Pettigrew as being the one more so that charge should be named after because of what he did there. He's the last guy.
You think so?
Yep, I do.
I mean. Okay, I'm not disagreeing with that.
I think the three of them deserve to be mentioned in that charge.
They absolutely do, especially the fact that Pettigrew had more brigades.
Yep.
But the Sickles thing comes up. It does. Okay?
It does, and it's one of those ones where it's like, you know, I don't fault people for thinking he was wrong at all. Like, that's just their opinion. It's good to. Ooh, that spray got a little. Ooh,
did we get a warning?
Oh no! Warnings are usually. Anyway.
And that's why we have an E. But anyway.
But yeah, Sickles has, and I admit it, you know, I was one that thought Sickles was wrong, and I've always been Team Meade. I still consider myself Team Meade, but I get why he did what he did. I think Meade was angry with him more so for not being at the fucking War Council than he was for him moving his line.
Do you know what I think? I think that War Council was the most important war council in American history, Mary.
Mm-hmm. The one on July the 2nd?
On July 2nd.
Yeah.
And the one he gets at night where Meade has the big bug eyes. Right? Not that one, okay? But the one earlier in the day. Because
that picture of Meade where he's like...
Because the fact of the matter is Sickles wasn't there. He had to break that up and he had to go find him, right? It allowed them to get ready for the Longstreet attack. Now, history being 360 and 2020 hindsight, you can go back into what would happen if Longstreet had not get lost and they attacked when he was supposed to in the morning and blah, blah, blah. But the reality was, at the end of the day, Sickles, for better for worse, probably by stumbling into luck, he threw a monkey wrench into Longstreet's plans, and he delayed him
He
just
did.
enough because you know what's the one thing that Longstreet had going against him when the battle started? It was daylight, sun, right?
Exactly.
And
Yep.
the clock was running, and he didn't have it. So what he did, he stalled him just enough, and Longstreet did his own thing to stall him, but he basically put him in a situation where it created. So when they're doing that echelon attack, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about, you got Longstreet's guys, you got McLaw's guys, and you end up with Cadmus Wilcox, and you end up with Perry and Lang and Ambrose Wright and Posey and Mahone, and all right down the line. That was running out of time, and so what he did was he ran the clock out on him.
Absolutely.
Now you could say Rhodes fucked up. He was supposed to attack Cemetery Hill from where the ABC is now, Mary, where the mine is.
Yeah.
Your place. You know, Long Avenue there, or Long Street, what the hell it's called. He was supposed to be there, but there was a lot of things that went against it. But Sickles being there, it helped them. But again, that whole thing is kind of overrated anyway.
Yeah.
Because the battle was over. The Union had won that battle by then anyway. It didn't matter.
Yep. Allie B says that Meade picture is the best big old seeing eyes from the snapping turtle. Yeah, he's just standing there where his hands are like this, and he's angry with Howard, probably.
Probably,
Yeah.
But that picture though was so freaking funny.
It's just like his eyes are. Encourage anybody to Google that picture. Google Gettysburg War Council. And that picture will come up.
Yeah, he's definitely he's got that "who took my last beer" look.
And Howard's over there like, not me.
It's like, arm hurts. I need the alcohol. Sorry.
Howard didn't drink. But, Mark, he said, Merry Christmas. Thanks for stopping by, Mark. Great to have you on the round table.
Yeah, we should probably jump up here pretty soon. We're kind of running long here, so.
Yeah,
I got stuff to do.
We're still
I got stuff to do, Mary.
Really?
I don't want to brag, but I got to shovel my driveway. Actually, I think it's like an inch. We got a little bit of snow overnight. It wasn't too bad. So it was nice this morning having coffee outside watching the snow fall.
Well,
it was
that's
very,
nice.
because some people were up at that point. And I got to enjoy
might I
peaceful
remind
life.
you that I was editing the podcast?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yes, I was.
So when you messaged me last night at like 9, said you were all done editing, that was a
That
different
was
Mary,
not at
or
9 o'clock.
It was like maybe 10, but it certainly wasn't this morning. Because I know this because you posted it at like 11 o'clock at night. So boom, Darren wins.
Yeah, because that was when I finished editing it.
Yeah, I know that, but it wasn't this morning.
No, that was why I wasn't up early, because I was up late and I let myself sleep in a little bit.
I went to bed after you did, but it's okay. It's okay. That's fine.
What?
Yeah.
How did you go to bed after me?
Because I remember, right? Because you had messaged me and said that I'm going to bed, and I ended up staying up later. I was reading. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But all I know is I was up. All I know is I was up this morning watching the snow fall, enjoying a wonderful pre-Christmas moment, while your ass is probably on cheek on pillow, sleeping one off. Yeah, I said it. You know why? You know why I said it, Mary? Because that flag. That's why I did
You
it.
fucker.
It's a freaking bag.
Allie B, fight.
Oh, she'd kill me.
Slay this relationship, Allie B.
She would kill me. You have no idea how much kicking and jumping out. But,
Ben, I got odds on Mare.
yeah, I would take those odds.
Just keep in mind who does kickboxing.
You give me that bead look. That'd be the end of it. Yeah, see that look. That's the look.
You should Photoshop my face onto that.
That look usually follows the "what possessed you" quote.
Which I have never said to you yet.
No, never.
Jim, do I have to separate you two? Don't make me have to stop this car. Ryan Weeks, I might need hints on the whole Boston Tea Party Revolutionary War thing. I'm feeling very Patrick Henry at the moment.
Yeah, totally do it. Anything you want. Ryan, if you ever come out here to the colonies, hook me up. We'll go out. I'll show you the stuff too.
And I will cross the cracker line to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, but definitely. But no, the Boston Tea Party. It's funny. I'm glad you mentioned that because I kind of forgot about it. But that was last week, the anniversary of that, and that whole area is really, really cool. Because they have a museum and you can see a lot of the stuff. I actually have somewhere in this house a box of tea from the East India Tea Company, not the original tea, of course, but they still make it and you can buy it at the museum. I bought it for like $5 and I had it on my mantle. But that whole area is really cool. You can actually go to a replication of the boat. You can throw the tea over. It's just pretty cool. It's just fun. It's a touristy little thing, but it's a beautiful area right on the water. But my Masonic brethren, Mary, met at the Green Dragon, and they decided to do it.
Nice. I would like to go to the Green Dragon someday.
Green Dragon's awesome. That and the Bell in Hand, they're right next to each other. The Bell in Hand is the first bar in American history.
You, Heckman, and I have to see if we can do a live stream from the Green Dragon.
That'd be cool, actually. They'd probably let us do it. They'd probably let us do it. Oh, I'm sure they would. They don't give a shit. You know, when I was there last time, I was there a month or so ago, and they go, "You guys want drinks?" "Yeah." "We have to order food." He goes, "Yeah, the state says that, but you guys are from the state, right?" "No." "Okay, fine. You guys are fine." It's like, okay, well, welcome to Boston. That's kind of how it works.
Love Boston.
No wonder why the COVID rate's 1,000% in that city, but okay, whatever.
It's the same with Toronto right now.
God, it's unbelievable.
So anyway, ready for this to be over.
But Ryan, yeah, absolutely. I love it. The Boston Tea Party, the Boston Massacre, all the Revolutionary War stuff is really, really cool. I'm not up on the Revolutionary War in Boston as I am for the Civil War, but I know enough to make myself dangerous. So you grow up here, you know it. But Lexington and Concord's really cool though. But I grew up right near Lexington Battle Green.
I would love to go there. I want to become more well versed in the Revolutionary War just because of how well versed I am in the Civil War, and I think the two kind of, you know, to know one, you're going to know the other better, I think. Ben's wow way to throw them under the bus.
Hey, you know what? I'm sure I don't think they care, for God's sakes, friggin' places. But Boston, Ryan, you know Boston. I mean, Ben, it's a different world. It's not the same.
It is. Boston, I find, is a lot like Canada. Like, I remember traveling to Boston a couple times for a comic book convention I went to back when I was into like gaming and playing Magic the Gathering.
Sounds awesome.
And I wanted to explore the city more.
Anywho.
Instead, I had to cosplay as Harley Quinn and a My Little Pony both times. Anyway.
You dressed as Harley Quinn?
I did, yeah. Second time I went, I was Harley Quinn. The first time I went, I was Applejack from My Little Pony. Little known facts about Fincheroo.
Just when I thought you couldn't be cooler.
Yep. Hey, Sharon. So anyway, as I was driving, we're driving through, it was like typical America driving through, right? People are really, really nice. But then when I got into Mass, I was like, this feels more like Canada. And it was.
Hey, Ben, Marty Walsh. Marty Walsh is a Boston College guy, Ben. So let's keep that blasphemy off this page. You know.
Valley be rude. It is awesome, Wicks.
What is awesome? What is she saying? Oh, about your Harley Quinn stuff?
I don't know. I have no idea. No, but I used to cosplay. I don't even...
kind of cosplay?
Yeah, it's when you dress up as like a character. So I dressed up as Applejack and Harley Quinn.
No, hey, look, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I dress up as a Civil War loser when I stumble through Gettysburg sometime too.
Hey, I plan on getting a Civil War dress and walking around Gettysburg in it sometime.
Yeah, that's cool. That is pretty funny.
That's life goals right now, is to get the Civil War dress and walk around Gettysburg in it.
Oh, definitely.
Because I had a photo taken at the one of the photo studios in Gettysburg, and I got to do the full costume thing.
Oh, me too. That was awesome. Doing that.
Oh yeah, your picture was awesome.
I got mine taken at the George House.
Yeah, where Reynolds was. Yeah, that's
where I got mine done.
That was the house that was brought up in our Ghost episode with Jay Price, right?
To what?
Our Ghost episode that we did with Jay Price, our Halloween episode, she talked about the George house because that was where she saw Reynolds' widow.
Yeah, that's right next to Gettysburg Geddes, right there.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, mm-hmm. I had mine done at the Victorian. I think it's the Victorian.
Right across the street from there.
Yes. Right? Yeah.
We went in there to get ours done. The guy was a dick, so fuck this. We went across the street to the George house.
My friend Liz works there. And she's really awesome. And Heckman knows her too. She's really awesome. She's good.
No, we went there one day and the guy was rude. I was like, fuck it, whatever. Me and a friend of mine wanted to do it.
We should go get a picture done.
Yeah, we'll totally do it. Ben, weeks I get a uniform for you if you want to wear one. Ben, yeah, definitely. But I have one. I have a whole uniform. I have a general jacket. I have a sergeant jacket. I got the whole thing. I got the brogans, the pants, the belt. I got the whole damn thing. I got an actual musket. I got a sword. All kinds of just speaking of cool, Mary, tell me about it.
Do you know what I would like to have? Is I would actually like to have a jacket.
Yeah.
Like what Howard or Sherman wore. I would like to have one of those jackets. I found one when I was in Gettysburg the last time, but it was way too big for me.
I'm sure they make a youth medium jacket to probably fit you, probably. Well, you want them to fit a little bit bigger though, because it meant to.
Yeah, but this one was
wear
gigantic. Over. This one was like I tried it on. It was gigantic. It looked ridiculous on me.
But if you
Ben, if did you say brogans?
Brogans, what do I call them? Brogans.
Aren't they brogans?
I call them brogans. I that's what Southerners call them, brogans. When I got them, they go, "You want some brogans?" So I say brogans. Same reason why I say growing. Certain words I say with Southern accents. Growing. Growing. Brogans. That's what I call them. Anyway, so I think we're good. I think we're ready to shut this down. It's about 12:30 or so. So yeah. I think we're good. So, but a great place to buy the gear is Regimental Quartermaster on Steinway. If you're in Gettysburg, if you want to buy a hat, you got to go to Dirty Billy's.
Yep.
But you're gonna pay for it. But if you want a real one, that's where I got my John Wilkes Booth hat, Mary, that I wear sometimes. Is Dirty Billy's.
Nice.
And
I like that hat.
Yeah, and the other ones. But I think we're good. So I think we're again, Mary's right. Mary's always right.
And Ryan said he shaved his mustache off at a work fancy dress party and he went as Lincoln. It was terrifying.
I think it'd be, I don't know, Mary. What do you think? Beard's growing. I haven't shaved it. You should keep it.
I like it how it is. Yeah.
Just good. Eyes up here. Keep that in mind. Okay. But I mean, it's definitely getting bigger. It's definitely growing. But
that's what she
all right.
said.
So Jesus Christ. Anyway, so let's talk about coming attractions, what we're going to be doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tuesday we're recording our March to the Sea episode part 2. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to talk about it might be a threesome potentially
in Savannah,
about, right? Yeah. A threesome with Savannah, but we're going to do that. And then we'll do the Facebook Live again next Saturday, which is the day after Christmas. Well, that'd be fun with you next day after Christmas. My God. Your eggnog antifreeze hangover you'll have next Saturday.
Well, I'm not with you, so it won't be that bad.
That's probably fair. There. So again, remember, so we're going to be doing this book club thing though for real. Okay. Yeah. So again, we are going to be reading Black Iron Mercy from Eric. Okay, but check out this book. This is honestly, I've read this. This is a fantastic book, but we're going to talk about this in the book club around the end of March, date TBD. So check it out. We'll have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Scott just asked what the book was, and you just told people what the book was. So that's awesome.
I'm ahead of the curve. So once again,
if you want to be part of the book club, and I will post about this on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram too. Send us an email to civilwarbreakfastclub@gmail.com and just let us know you want to participate. And we're going to be posting about it over the next until March too, just to remind people that it's happening and they can show up for it. But it's going to be a quarterly thing.
Well, but we'll tweet and we'll Facebook and Instagram this book. So again, in case you forget the name of it, and it's pretty cheap. You can get on Amazon used for probably like $10. It's not an expensive book. It's an easy read. It's a historical fiction. But anybody who is going to do this has any suggestions of books you want to do, just let us know.
I was just thinking of mentioning that, so thank you for that.
Okay. But again, just because, we want to keep it readable to a simple point. We don't want to go we've all read the high level stuff, but we want to have fun stuff. So this is a fun book. You'll enjoy this. And we hope you do it because I think it'll be a lot of fun doing this. So
we want to go after more books that aren't as well known, and look at some just give some of these lesser known books some more love. Like obviously this Black Iron Mercy, I'm reading it right now, and I can tell you if you've read Jeff Shara, you're going to enjoy this one even more. It is so well written. I love the characters in it. Allie B actually, she book enabled me a little while ago, and Pickett's Charge in Memory and History, I think, was the book. That might be one of the books that we talk about, as well. But we are planning on doing this 4 times a year.
I mean, we could always do more as the need is. I mean, we just want to give people, we're respectful of the fact that people are busy and have lives.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to sit there and do this too often because but I think try to do simple books, read about them, and we'll talk about them on the regular roundtables too about books we want to do.
Yeah.
And, but I think that's the plan. So keep an eye out for that. Probably around the end of March, someday during the midweek, we'll do like just an hour, and we'll talk about the book and just specifically talk about this book, and then we'll talk about future books in the future. But
exactly. Caroline says, "Love your banter, Civil War tales and beyond. Happy holidays." Happy holidays, Caroline.
Yeah, happy holidays.
By.
Yeah, definitely, Caroline. It's great. It's great that you signed on. That's great that you did that. We'd love to have you.
Allie B and Ben lives. Exactly right. Hey, admittedly, this podcast, these Facebook lives, the roundtables are what is getting me through this pandemic. So I am so.
Look, I'll be the first to admit I have no fucking life anyway. But this is
my Christmas message to Darren. I'm so happy to be able to do this with him because he is the dude that knows the most about the Civil War, and he's like my go-to guy for it.
She's strong, but all seriously, but it is fun to do this. So Mary, same to you. You are no one, and I'll tell you point blank. I give you shit, but there's no one smarter in the Civil War than you, and I'll tell you that right now. And you force me to up my game every single week with this. So I appreciate that, and but I hope everybody has a fantastic Christmas, fantastic holiday season. Stay safe. Hopefully Santa is good to you, and hopefully you guys have a great week. And so our next podcast will be on Sherman again. We'll talk about that. But but it's so great you guys it's just great to be able to jump on this.
Thank you guys for coming on to these things. And Merry Christmas, Amelia. And thank you everybody for the support you've given us these last 18 episodes. This community is really, really awesome. And it's really just, we love it. Like, we learn so much from all of you. So thank you. It's
a lot of fun. So everybody have a great Christmas season, and thank you again for all this. This is so much fun. Yeah. So Mary, again, the pleasure was all yours. and
Jesus.
So you're not living that one down anytime soon. But so we will talk to you soon. Hopefully you have a good week yourself. I'm sure I'll be talking to you during the week. But anyway, so enjoy the day. But have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for signing on again. We will talk to you soon. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. We'll talk next time. Have a great holiday season. And we will Jingle Bell Hood and Ho Ho Howard. Wish you a great holiday season, and we thank you again. So thanks for signing on, and we will talk to you on the other side.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Merry Christmas. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.